some lumps when the mighty case struck out. So say hey Willie, tell Ty Cobb and Joe DiMaggio, don't say it ain't so, you know the time is now. Oh, put me in, coach, I'm ready to play today. Put me in, coach, I'm ready to play today. Look at me, I could be center field. Got a beat up glove, a homemade bat, and a brand new pair of shoes. You know I think it's time to give this game a ride. Just to hit the ball and touch them all. A moment in the sun. It's gone, you can kiss that one goodbye. Oh, put me in, coach, I'm ready to play today. Put me in, coach, I'm ready to play today. Look at me, I could be center field. Put me in, coach, I'm ready to play today. Put me in, coach, I'm ready to play today. Look at me, I could be center field.
Cafe, young and hungry. Brand new whip, get away to ride.
Run. Run.
Break out, find our freedom. Hands up, gonna touch the sky.
Touch the sky.
Run. Run.
We're living the good life, living it up like Bonnie and Clyde. We'll take the money and run. Never see us coming, you ain't never gonna see us coming.
Run.
Can't stop stealing glances. Crack the code, tell me what's inside. What's inside?
Run. Run.
Red dress, black sunglasses. We disappear into the night.
Run. Run.
We're living the good life, living it up like Bonnie and Clyde. We'll take the money and run. Never see us coming, you ain't never gonna see us coming.
Run. Run. Run.
We're living the good life, living it up like Bonnie and Clyde. We'll take the money and run. Never see us coming, you ain't never gonna see us coming.
Run. 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 Hello! How's everybody doing? My name's Grant Smithell. It's so nice to see you all tonight. What an evening. What an evening we find ourselves together upon. The King spoke to Congress earlier today. It is 5 p.m. exactly, Eastern, here in Boston. Nice to be with you. Thank you for welcoming me into your home for a Towel Nightly News recap. Could run 2 hours, could run 4 hours. Who knows? It's great to be with you, though. My name is Grant Smith-Ellis. It is 11 p.m. in South Africa. That would be Tuesday, April 28th, 2026. It's midnight on the dot in Tel Aviv, Israel, and it is 12:30 a.m. in Tehran, Iran. That would be Wednesday, April 29th, 2026. Yes, I think that song, Centerfield, John Fogerty, might just be about Jesus. I was listening to it today, and I was thinking to myself, wait a minute. I think he's talking about Jesus. And you know what? He was. All right, what's going on here? Having a bit of a frame drop. I'm back. Sorry about that. Had a frame drop issue. It was because I started yelling about how much I like the John Fogerty song. Sometimes I spike the volume on the audio, and it causes the bit rate to spike. But yes, I'm starting to think that John Fogerty song, Centerfield, is about Jesus. I'm just saying. All right, let's get started for the evening. I'm sorry I didn't give you a lot of heads up. I didn't know what time I was going to go live. And then Hezbollah, within the last hour, has fired 2 rounds of attacks on northern Israel, both of which I will keep you updated on. Before we begin, though, there is an arrest warrant out for the former head of the FBI. Just 10 minutes ago, the Department of Justice announced that they have put an arrest warrant out for the former head of the FBI, James Comey, for, of all things, threatening to harm the President of the United States. Let's take a listen.
That contained a threat to kill the President of the United States. Both of these counts carry a maximum term of imprisonment of 10 years. So I think it's fair to say that threatening the life of anybody is dangerous and potentially a crime. Threatening the life of the President of the United States will never be tolerated by the Department of Justice. Over the past year, this department has charged dozens of cases involving threats against all sorts of individuals. We take these seriously, every single one of them. For example, just today in the Northern District of Florida, there was a guilty plea from an individual who threatened multiple political leaders, including President Trump. In the Eastern District of North Carolina, where this case was indicted earlier today, there are multiple threats cases very similar to this one, including one where the defendant pled guilty recently to threatening former President Biden, another one that's scheduled to go to trial this summer, another one indicted, an individual was indicted for threatening Tom Homan. I say that to say,
this is Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche, minutes ago at the DOJ.
That while this case is unique and this indictment stands out because of the name of the defendant, his alleged conduct is the same kind of conduct that we will never tolerate and that we will always investigate and regularly prosecute. I want to take a moment to thank the hardworking members of the FBI who investigated this case over the past 11 months or so, the United States Secret Service who also assisted in this investigation, and the United States Attorney's Office for the Eastern District of North Carolina, led by United States Attorney Ellis Boyle, who's standing to my right. This was an investigation that remains ongoing. That's been ongoing for about a year. And that's all we're going to say about it today. I will let the U.S. Attorney Boyle speak now, and then after that, Director Patel. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Attorney General. Earlier today, a grand jury in the Eastern District of North Carolina returned a true bill indicting Mr. James Comey with committing 2 felonies. Count 1, he knowingly and willfully made a threat to kill and to inflict bodily harm upon the President of the United States in violation of 18 U.S.C. 871A. Count 2, he knowingly and willfully transmitted in interstate and foreign commerce a communication that contained a threat to kill President Trump in violation of 18 U.S.C. 875C. Mr. Comey will be given every form of due process all citizens are entitled to receive, to include a trial by a jury of his peers. In the Eastern District of North Carolina, it doesn't matter who you are. We take all threat cases seriously and prosecute anyone who violates federal law, regardless of title or status. Thank you.
Thank you. As you heard from the Attorney General, the U.S. Attorney, former FBI Director James Comey, has now been indicted for 2 felony counts. While many of you may read this indictment and view this matter as a simple investigation, it is the farthest thing from that. Every single investigation this FBI and our partners at the Department of Justice undertake, especially those that involve the threats to harm or hurt or even kill individuals, whether they hold public office or civilians in our country, are met with the same measure of investigative prowess and tools and personnel in partnership with the Department of Justice as anyone else. As the U.S. Attorney indicated, James Comey will be afforded every matter of due process under the United States Constitution. And as the Attorney General indicated, this has been a case that's been investigated over the past 9, 10, 11 months. These cases take time. Our investigators work methodically. They are career agents, career prosecutors who work these matters. They call the balls and strikes in the field as they see fit pursuant to the facts of the case and the law. They took that information and made a presentment to a grand jury, a jury of peers in the district in which the alleged crime took place. And that grand jury spoke, and that grand jury returned a 2-count indictment against James Comey. James Comey allegedly threatened the life of the President of the United States. And as you all now know, shortly after posting that threat, he deleted that threat and then issued an apology. All of that information was presented to the grand jury, and Mr. Comey will have his day in court and his ability to speak to a jury of his peers. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll just take a couple of questions.
Mr. Attorney General, the Justice Department in this filing today also issued an arrest warrant for Mr. Comey. Is it your belief that he is a continued public threat? And is there a request also for detention that you anticipate will be made in this case?
So the Department of Justice does not issue arrest warrants, grand juries do. And so the grand jury returned an indictment and arrest warrant. I expect that there will be communication with Mr. Comey's counsel, and we'll go from there. This case will proceed like hundreds of others do every year. There will be some sort of arraignment set by the judge or assigned to the magistrate judge, and when that happens, you'll know about it.
But in this is being handled differently from the last time he was indicted. That's my reference. In this case, the department requested an arrest warrant, right?
Well, I don't think that it's public or clear what the department requested. The grand jury issued an arrest warrant. Go ahead. Yes.
Sir, how will you prove intent when, as the director had acknowledged, Mr. Comey said he did not associate 86 with doing harm, and he took it down promptly, said it was political speech, not an intent to harm the president?
Well, it's not. This case was indicted today. This conduct occurred about a year ago, May 15th of last year. There's been a tremendous amount of investigation. And how do you prove intent in any case? You prove intent with witnesses, with documents, with the defendant himself to the extent it's appropriate. And that's how we'll improve intent in this case. And so I think that talking about what Mr. Comey will or will not do if there's a trial, when there's a trial, it's very premature for me to do that today.
General Blanch, I wanted to ask you a quick question about, there's a number of other different types of conduct Comey has been accused of over the past. One of them is abuse of FISA warrants. I wanted to ask if there's anything that we could talk about today in regards to that, but on a separate matter, if I may ask any more updates about the ballistics forensic analysis with the shooting that happened over the weekend.
So on the first question, no, there's nothing else to report about any investigations or anything involving Mr. Comey except the indictment that was returned today by the grand jury. I don't have anything further to talk about with the ballistics that are still being analyzed. And I said it yesterday, and every law enforcement member who is speaking on this issue is saying the same thing as they should, which is that this is an ongoing investigation with really, really smart experts trying to understand what happened in that shooting and where the bullets went and ended up and where the bullets came from. And once that is at a place where we can definitively say, to the extent we can definitively say, we will let you know.
Director Comey posted this almost a year ago. Why bring this case now? Did you always feel like this was a strong prosecution, or did something change recently?
This investigation just didn't come now. It's the result of a lot of work by law enforcement over the past year. We don't time when we bring cases around anything other than when the investigation is at a place where we should go to the grand jury, and that's exactly what we did in this case as well.
As a former FBI director, you may not agree with what he did. Should he be able to turn himself in as a former FBI director? He's not a flight risk.
I didn't say he can't turn himself in.
So he's not under arrest right now, and he may be able to work
I don't
out
know
something.
whether he's under arrest right now. I'm here talking to you. The grand jury issued an arrest warrant. I think that the way that this happens is different in every case. It's fact intensive. It depends on you're right, who the defendant is. It depends on whether he has counsel. It depends on what the judge wants done. And so I don't know when the judge will schedule an initial arraignment, if that will be scheduled by the magistrate or the district court judge. I am sure, I don't know if you want to speak to that, or if it's just something that will come up in the next coming days. You'll know when it happens. As far as what Mr. Comey does between now and then, I'm going to leave that up to the line prosecutors in the Eastern District of North Carolina, the FBI agents, and the work that they're doing.
Why, Director Patel, maybe you said that it's a complicated thing. A lot of people might think it's an easy case. Why did it take so long? I know that you guys chose to go with this now, but to the layman just looking at this case, or layperson looking at the case, it was an Instagram post. He apologized. Why did it take so long?
Well, I'm not going to get into the details of the investigation itself, but a lot of these cases, you could look at when the threats were made and when charges are brought. They're not easy cases. And so we have to, there's a communication that's sent in allegedly in this case. And so that means that we have to look at devices. Mr. Comey is a lawyer. He has lawyers. So to the extent that we're looking at materials that are potentially privileged, we have to get a wall, set up a wall and let totally independent lawyers look at those. And so that doesn't happen overnight or quickly. And the statute of limitations of this is 5 years. We brought it in under 1 year. So that's really where we're at.
It's clear that you don't want to talk specifics today. But to the American public, can you at least give us a sense of whether you have hard evidence or evidence that shows that Mr. Comey intended for President Trump to be harmed? And then secondarily, for critics who say, where does free speech end and an actual threat of violence begin?
I don't know what critics say that, especially today, but it's not a very difficult line to look at, and it's not, in my mind, a difficult line for one to cross over one way or the other. We cannot, you are not allowed to threaten the President of the United States.
The answer is whether it's a imminent threat, clear and imminent threat of harm. We're experiencing a little bit of buffering, by the way. That's why I'm pausing the video. A little bit of turbulence on AirTowel. Thank you very much for your attention.
United States of America. That's not my decision. That's Congress's decision and a statute that they passed that we charge multiple times a year. And so whether there is a defense, as you just described, maybe there is, but the government will have evidence. I am not going to talk about the evidence that we have. That's unfair to him. It's unfair to the prosecutors, but it's enough to say that the grand jury returned an indictment. I'm just going to take one more question.
Thank you, sir. Mary Margaret with the Daily Wire. Should we expect more indictments of this sort? For example, in 2020, Gretchen Whitmer did a TV hit with 8645 on her desk in the background. Is that the kind of thing you would pursue? And then just really quickly, should Comey expect to face more charges for his role in the Russia collusion investigations?
I'm not going to comment on other investigations involving Mr. Comey. He was indicted in the Eastern District of Virginia. That was dismissed on procedural grounds because of the judge's finding regarding the U.S. attorney. I'm
not a lawyer. This is not legal advice. The standard is recklessness, according in the federal courts. I'm not a lawyer. This is not legal advice. The standard is recklessness under Counterman v. Colorado, which is an interpretation of Ellis v. United States, which is itself an interpretation of this true threats case that goes back to the 60s. I don't remember what it's called right now. The point is, the standard here is recklessness. You have to consciously disregard a substantial risk that your communication would be viewed as threatening violence in the federal system. It needs to be serious. I'm just reading an overview here from the ACLU, so I'm citing to the ACLU. The threat must be serious enough that it could reasonably instill fear of violence, but the speaker does not necessarily need to intend to actually carry out the threat. Courts assess the context, the conditional nature of the statement, and the reaction of listeners to determine if speech crosses into a true threat. This is in the federal system.
That case is under appeal. As far as other...
I didn't get to see any of the football today. I bet it was really good. Pete, you're going to have to give us a European football towel reporter update. Pete is football reporter towel who will tell us about Paris Saint-Germain versus Bayern München, I believe, in the Champions League. We'll have an update from Pete, reporter towel, shortly.
Investigations that are happening, it would not be appropriate or fair for me to comment on that time. As far as other incidents of threats against the President of the United States, those will be investigated. Every case is different. The facts are different. Who makes...
Wow. So just looking at the Biden-PSG game, in the first leg of the Champions League semifinal contest, PSG came out on top at home in the Parc des Princes, giving up 4 away goals to Bayern München, including an early penalty by Harry Kane. However, PSG came back from, it looks like, the score went from 1-0 Bayern to then 1-1. PSG versus to Biden, then 2-1 PSG in the 33rd minute, then 2-2 in the 41st minute. Biden scored to level it. Then let's see, 3-2 Biden in the 40 to PSG in the 45th minute +5, and then it was 4-2 Biden in the PSG in the 56th minute. And then it was 5-4 in the 58th minute with the PSG in the lead. And then Biden managed to claw back to make it 5-3 in the 65th. And then Biden clawed back to make it 5-4 in the 68th, but simply could not get that goal. However, Bayern München with 4 away goals, the key determination factor in a second leg of a Champions League semifinal, will certainly have the edge going into the return leg, as Biden will only need to score 1 goal and hold PSG to no goals in order to advance. Now, once you start talking about PSG scoring and Biden scoring over the 2 legs, it gets a little more complicated. But if the next game ended Biden 1, PSG 0, at least if it's under the rules that I'm used to, then Biden would go forward because they would win on the away goal tiebreaker, having 4 away goals and having limited PSG to none. Now, what this means is that basically if PSG scores less than 3 goals during the next match and either ties with Bayern München, or Bayern München wins, in which case it wouldn't really matter. But as long as Biden maintains the away goal advantage, they will go through if they tie or beat PSG. That's how it works. Hashtag I'm a towel.
The threat
I'm a soccer
matters.
reporter
What the
towel.
threat says matters. You're right. The question about intent matters, and we
Hello, the first 48. So good to see
to
you.
prove that. That's something that's our job, and that's something that prosecutors will have to do in front of a jury at the right time. But you cannot compare. It's not fair to the American people. It's not fair to the
Oh, God bless you. Got manners. It's so good to see you. How are you?
defendant, and it's certainly not fair to the prosecutors to compare. Well, if you did it here, why didn't you do it there? Every case is different, but there's one thing that will never be different, which is that you cannot threaten to kill the President of the United States. Full stop. All right, thanks a lot, guys.
Did President Trump's message to Pam Bondi saying that Comey was guilty as hell influence this process?
Okay. So that was the most recent update. I can show you the indictment of James Comey over here on the right. I have the actual indictment. It was just filed. I just managed to get it. So this is the indictment itself on the right. All right, on or about May 15th, 2025, in the Eastern District of North Carolina, the defendant, James Bryan Comey Jr., did knowingly and willfully make a threat to take the life of and to inflict bodily harm upon the President of the United States, in that he publicly posted a photograph on the internet social media site Instagram, which depicted seashells arranged in a pattern making out 8647, which a reasonable recipient who is familiar with the circumstances would interpret as a serious expression of an intent to do harm to the President of the United States in violation of Title 18 U.S. Code Section 871A. All right. So, count 2. On or about May 15, 2025, in the Eastern District, the defendant knowingly and willfully did transmit in interstate and foreign commerce a communication that contained a threat to kill the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, specifically by publicly posting a photograph on the internet social media site Instagram, which depicted seashells arranged in a pattern making out 8647, which a reasonable recipient who is familiar with the circumstances would interpret as a serious expression of intent to do harm to President Trump in violation of Title 18 U.S. Code Section 875C. So he's been charged with 2 felonies, neither of which require intent to actually do harm. This will be the subject of a lot of debates. The only reason Comey's last cases didn't actually go anywhere is because the prosecutor was found by the court to have not been legally appointed. It was kind of like a non-substantive challenge to the indictment. It was like a procedural challenge. This, I think, will hold up, and the reason why Comey's in a lot of trouble is that he did this in a very Republican-friendly district. Where he got charged last time, I think it was the EDVA, the Eastern District of Virginia. It's very liberal, very liberal. Where he got charged now is the Eastern District of North Carolina, it's really about the judge in the federal system. The federal system is very judge dependent, even in a jury trial. And you got a really intense judge who doesn't like you and who likes the president. They can screw you hard based on just what the jury is allowed to see. And federal voir dire is a beast. You don't even want to talk about what it's like. If he can't get this thrown out procedurally, this is going to be airtight procedurally. It's not going to be challenged the same way. I don't even think it will survive. I don't think a challenge to this will prevail on First Amendment grounds because the standard is very loose in the federal system. It's very loose. You don't need an intent to actually harm the president. He got indicted too. I think this one will probably go to trial. It will be airtight procedurally. He might not get convicted, but it will go to trial. He might get a jury that's a little more liberal. I don't really know what the Eastern District of North Carolina is like. I can't imagine it's a very liberal place. I don't think I've ever been to the Eastern District of North Carolina. I'm sure I would like it very much, but I don't think Mr. Comey is going to like it very much indeed. So that is the news that happened right off the top. Now, taking you to Lebanon, where there has been an outrageous series of Israeli bombs. There have been so many bombs dropped on Lebanon today that even the Lebanese government has declared some of the strikes war crimes because there are so many people that have been killed. I'm going to read you now the list from Courtney Boneo. Just today in
Conversation.
Lebanon.
Summary of Israeli attacks on Lebanese territory on April 28, 2026. Airstrikes, Shakra, Tibnan, Tulan, Barashit, Karbat Salm, Sortar al-Sharqiyya, al-Bazuriye Wadi Jillo, Kabrika, Jabal al-Batoum, Mashdalzun, Terdaba, Kayfa Tebnat, Froon, Al-Teri, Jebchit, Joaya, Drone strikes, Kabrika, Beit al-Sayyad, al-Mansuri, between al-Haush and Burj al-Shamali, Mashdalzun, al-Khalila, al-Haniya, artillery shelling, Kunin, Beit al-Sayyad, al-Mansuri, Shakra, Phosphorus, Barashit, Phosphorus, home and infrastructure demolitions, Alcantara, Hanan, Shamar. Quote.
So I don't understand how all of these ceasefire violations are being tolerated by anyone. Whether it be the U.S. president who instructed Bibi to stop these bombings, or the Iranians, or Hezbollah. Let me take you to the latest report now from on the ground
الاحتلال الإسرائيلي
from one of
ارتكب
those
مجزرة في
strikes.
بلدة جبشيت حيث ارتقى عدد من
This is
الشهداء من
Lebanon
بينهم أطفال ووالدتهم. طبعا ما زالت فرق الإنقاذ تعمل للبحث عن المفقودين هنا في هذه المنطقة حيث تم تدمير 4 مبان سكنية
including rescuers have been trapped. Multiple members of the Lebanese army were hit.
عدد من الجرحى. بطبيعة الحال هذا الاستهداف يأتي في وقت كانت البلدة يعني تحاول أن تنفض الغبار عن الدمار الذي تعرضت له خلال العدوان الإسرائيلي والحرب الإسرائيلية الأخيرة على لبنان، في وقت كانت الناس قررت العودة إلى البلدة ومحاولة يعني إعادة تنظيف ما كان قد تدمر ومحاولة فتح المصالح والمحال التجارية من جديد، إلى أن هذا الاستهداف الغاشم للاحتلال الإسرائيلي يأتي ليرتكب مجزرة في ظل كانت هذه القرية تحاول استعادة عافيتها من جديد في ظل استمرار العدوان الإسرائيلي على لبنان. طبعا هذه المجازر الإسرائيلية لم تكن اليوم فقط في بلدة جبشيت، إنما أيضا ارتكب الاحتلال اليوم مجزرة في بلدة مجد الزون في جنوبي لبنان في سلسلة للاختراقات من قبل العدو لما يسميه وقف إطلاق النار. طبعا أيضا سقط عدد من الجرحى من العسكريين في بلدة مجد الزون جنوبي لبنان. هذه المجازر الإسرائيلية تستمر في جنوب لبنان حتى في المناطق التي عاد إليها الناس ظنا منهم بأنها آمنة، لكن يبدو بأن هذا الاحتلال لا أمان له في جنوب لبنان.
So after what was an intense day of raids, that was just the scenes from one of those raids. I think it will be Silent Dogs. I know Silent Dogs, I want you to prepare yourself. The Blood Guardians have released a new video. I don't know if it's the Blood Guardians in it or not. I believe it might be. Okay, they have released a new video. We've had requests for this for a very long time. Okay, Silent Dogs has been waiting. I don't know what sparked them to release this today. It's from the 8th of April, but they released it today. Yes, Silent Dogs, you got your wish. There is a new video from the Islamic Mujahideen of the Islamic Resistance in Iraq, and yes, it has a song. Wow, okay, so that was actually a drone attack on an American base from the 8th of April. I'll show this to you one more time, just released in the past few hours from the Mujahideen of the Islamic Resistance in Iraq.
سماءكم نارا تذيق نفوسكم علقا وإنا إن تزل عنا سرايا أولياء الدم نحيل سماءكم نارا تذيق نفوسكم علقا وإنا إن تزل عنا سرايا أولياء الدم سرايا أولياء الدم مهدي ينادينا سليماني لنا كلم ولا حلنا أبا هادي ومن ضحى ومن قدم أبا مهدي ينادينا سليماني لنا كلم ولا حلنا أبا هادي ومن ضحى ومن قدم
Well, after a multiple-week hiatus, what does it mean? The Blood Guardians are back. What does it mean? I don't know. Silent Dogs is definitely excited. I'm not really sure what it means. Taking you to Russia now, where the head of the central bank notes that there's a serious employment crisis.
Я уже говорила, вот особенность ситуации сейчас – это ситуация на рынке труда. Мы действительно никогда до сих пор в истории современной России не жили в таком дефиците рабочей силы. Никогда у нас такого не было. А это оказывает влияние на, и на всю экономическую ситуацию, на наши решения. Поэтому, конечно, ситуация, так развивается ситуация на рынке.
Israeli jets flying low over the south now of Lebanon.
Здесь, конечно, если бы были более оперативные данные, нам бы это сильно помогло.
So, you can hear it there directly from the head of the Russian central bank. The Russian labor market is taking a hit. Okay, now I'll take you to the latest footage from Hezbollah showing an attack on April 24th towards an armored personnel carrier belonging to the IDF in Kantara, southern Lebanon. Latest from Hezbollah released just within the last hour. Taking you to Iran now, where I have an interview that I transcribed for you in 4 parts. I believe Mr. President Trump earlier today said something that didn't really make any sense. He said it right before the markets open. So let me just read you the statement from Mr. President Trump to begin the day. This was at 9:29 a.m. Eastern. Iran has just informed us that they are in a, quote, state of collapse. They want us to open the Hormuz Strait as soon as possible as they try to figure out their leadership situation, which I believe they will be able to do. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. Well, just a few hours after that, the spokesperson for, let me give you the exact title of this man before we watch his video. I did translate them for you. This is the spokesperson, for the IRGC Army. Okay? He then went on TV within about an hour or two of that, live TV. I translated it for you into English. We can listen to it in 4 parts now.
در روزه ما هماهنگی و هم‌افزاییمون خیلی بیشتر شده. ما در همین جنگ عملیات مشترک انجام دادیم با عزیزانمون در سپاه پاسداران و عملیات ها به گونه‌ای طراحی میشه و اجرا میشه که از یک هم‌افزایی برخوردار باشه. ببینید وقتی ما موشک هامون شلیک میشه یا پهپادامون پرتاب میشه به سمت دشمن، خب تاکتیک به ما در واقع میگه که باید به گونه‌ای باشه که دشمن نتواند در مقابل این پرتابه ها دفاع کنه یا در واقع سامانه های دفاعی دشمن رو تا میتوانیم تضعیف کنیم که بتوانیم این موشک‌ها و این پرتابه‌ها رو به هدف برسونیم. این اقدام الان انجام میشه. گاهی اوقات ما با شلیکی مثلا یک موشک یک رادار دشمن رو از بین میبریم و بعد پشت در واقع سر این شلیک موشک پهپادها خیلی راحت میتونن به اهدافشون برسن. یا بالعکس این عملیات ها الان به صورت مشترک و هماهنگ و البته هم افزا داره انجام میشه. در دوران جنگ 40 روزه بسیار مناسب بوده. در حوزه دریایی هم ما به همین شکله. ببینید عزیزان ما در سپاه پاسداران غرب تنگه هرمز رو در واقع امنیتشو بر عهده دارن و نیروهای دریایی ارتش جمهوری اسلامی ایران در شرق تنگه به صورت هماهنگ این تنگه رو کنترل میکنند و این هماهنگی و هم‌افزایی در تنگه هرمز هم وجود داره در همه عرصه‌ها، در هوافضا، در بحث پدافند. من که عرض کردم خدمتون اساساً نیروهای پدافند هوایی چه در سپاه چه در ارتش تحت کنترل عملیاتی قرارگاه پدافند کشور هستن که خب اون قرارگاه در تابعیت ارتش است و این هم‌افزایی ایجاد شده و ما در واقع خیلی خوب تونستیم الحمدلله در این جنگ 40 روزه هم نشون بدیم که میتوانیم هماهنگ، هم‌افزا و در واقع به گونه مؤثرتر عملیات مشترک انجام بدیم.
امیر مزاور
Part 1. Here's the second part of the interview I have for you now.
وضعیت فعلی ما در ارتباط با وضعیت فعلی ما جنگ رو تمام شده تلقی نکردیم. از همون روزی که جنگ متوقف شد و به تعبیری آتش یا سکوت صورت گرفته در میدان جنگ به دلیل اینکه اعتمادی وجود نداره به امریکا و دشمنان ما همیشه به همون شکلی که در طول جنگ عمل میکردیم با جدیت تلاش کردیم اهدافمون رو بروز کنیم، بانک اهداف رو بروز کنیم، آموزش هامون رو ادامه بدیم، از تجربیات جنگ استفاده کردیم و تجهیزاتمون رو در واقع هم تولید کردیم هم بروز کردیم و برای ما شرایط جنگی است هنوز.
پس رصد، پایش و تجهیز بیوقفه
ادامه داشته و الان هم اطمینان میدم به سرکارعالی به ملت عزیزمون اگر دشمن مجدداً دست به تجاوز دیگری بزنه با ابزارهای جدید با شیوه‌های جدید و در عرصه‌های جدید مواجه خواهد شد از سوی جمهوری اسلامی ایران و ارتش جمهوری اسلامی ایران و ما قاطعانه با استفاده از این ابزارهای جدید با استفاده از تجربیاتی که از این دو جنگ 12 روزه به 40 روزه به دست آوردیم و در عرصه‌های جدید حتما با دشمن برخورد خواهیم کرد.
Okay, that's part 2. Going to part 3 now of the interview with the Iranian Army spokesperson.
علاوه بر این نیروی زمینی در شلیک پهپاد بسیار نقش‌آفرین بود، در شلیک موشک‌های در واقع مختلف خودش خیلی مؤثر عمل کرد نیروی زمینی با شلیک موشک‌های فجر، موشک‌های فتح. اینها در واقع موشک‌هایی بودن که از طرف نیروی زمینی شلیک شد به پایگاه‌های دشمن در کشورهای منطقه و از این طریق نیروی زمینی نقش‌آفرین بود و عرض کنم حضور شما که مراقبت‌هایی که از مرزها به وجود آوردن. شما ملاحظه فرمودید تا روز آخر جنگ علیرغم اینکه دشمن شعارهایی میداد برای حمله زمینی هیچ وقت جرأت پیدا نکرد که از طریق زمین تعرضی یا تجاوزی به مرزهای زمینی ما داشته باشه که یکی از عوامل مهمش همین آمادگی نیروی زمینی ارتش کنار نیروی زمینی ارتش نیروی زمینی سپاه هم از این آمادگی برخوردار.
And part 4 now. I translated all these for you. Took a while earlier. Translated from the Farsi. Last part, and then we'll watch the Pope from a few days ago in Africa. Thanks to Illy for that wonderful
نیروی
clip.
زمینی در ابتدا عملکرد نیروی زمینی ارتش خب با چون ما یک آمادگی از قبل داشتیم، برآوردهای اطلاعاتی ارتش نشان میداد که دشمن احتمال در واقع حمله نظامی به کشور رو داشته باشه. در برآوردهای اطلاعاتی ما این وجود داشت. به همین خاطر همه نیروهای ارتش و یگانهای ارتش از یک سطح آمادگی مناسب برخوردار بودند. نیروی زمینی یگانهای خودش رو در مناطق مختلف کشور مستقر کرده بود و از یک آمادگی خیلی خوبی برخوردار بودند. مثلا شما آمادگی نیروی زمینی رو در اون نفوذی که دشمن در اصفهان داشت ملاحظه فرمودید. بلافاصله یگانهای نیروی زمینی اونجا وارد عمل شدن، هواپیمای امریکایی رو مورد اصابت قرار دادن و باعث شد که این عکس العمل سریع و واکنش بسیار سریع عملیات دشمن با شکست و ناکامی مواجه بشه. البته
All right, that was part 4. And now, before we continue with the rest of our evening news recap, I'd like to show you the Pope speaking in Africa on his way back to Rome just 2 or 3 days ago, mentioning the picture he carries with him at all times. This is in regards to Lebanon.
Io porto con me una foto di un bambino musulmano che nella visita in Libano stava lì aspettando con un cartello dicendo benvenuto Papa Leone, e poi in questa ultima parte, diciamo, della guerra è stato ucciso lui, no? Sono tante le situazioni umane e penso che dobbiamo avere la capacità di pensare in questa forma. E come Chiesa dico di nuovo, se come pastore non posso essere a favore della guerra e vorrei incoraggiare tutti a fare gli sforzi per cercare risposte che vengono da una cultura di pace e non di odio. Io porto con me una foto di un bambino musulmano che nella visita in Libano stava lì aspettando con un cartello dicendo benvenuto Papa Leone, e poi in questa ultima parte, diciamo, della guerra è stato ucciso lui, no? Sono tante le situazioni umane e penso che dobbiamo avere la capacità di pensare in questa forma. E come Chiesa dico di nuovo, se come pastore non posso essere a favore della guerra e vorrei incoraggiare tutti a fare gli sforzi per dare risposte che vengono da una cultura di pace e non di odio.
And I just don't understand. I think that's where my frustration comes from. We would be in a position of peace if not for the constant bombing and death in southern Lebanon, which, because it goes unresponded to by the international community, and really even Hezbollah, who has shown an incredible amount of restraint compared to the amount of bombings in southern Lebanon, but for that, there would be peace. And I have to imagine that's in the minds of all the different sides of this conflict, that there would be no death nor bombs falling but for the situation in southern Lebanon, which the leadership of Israel, in particular Benjamin Netanyahu, continues to use as an opportunity, I think, to insulate himself from the collapse of his government. Speaking of the collapse of the government in Israel, I'll take you to almost astonishing scenes from earlier tonight in Israel, where the military police chief, the head of the military police in Israel, his home was stormed by a group of Orthodox protesters who, in turn, were upset that people earlier in the day had been arrested in Israel for not complying with the requirements of the draft. So I'm going to take you now to just incredible scenes as this is a group in Israel who opposed the draft. They stormed the home of the chief of the military police, Colonel Yuval Yaim, in Ashkelon. They took over his house, leading the Prime Minister of Israel to issue a statement on social media. Hi, Mimi.
Daniel.
So these are anti-draft Orthodox members of the Jewish religion in Israel who are protesting because there have been arrests I think probably earlier today, in Israel, of Orthodox members of the Jewish faith who refused to comply with the draft. And so as a result of those arrests, members of the Orthodox community, one specific group, took over the home of the chief of the military police in Israel. So again, on the verge of civil disorder in Israel, certainly. Now, the police did not just let these people stay there. There was a response. I'll show you actually the response. And then we'll listen to a speech from King Charles if we have the opportunity, if there are no more attacks, at least in the interim. I'm going to be monitoring during what are considered sort of the intense moments of the evening, which is between 1 to 3 a.m. in Israel, in Tehran. So over the next few hours, I'll be monitoring with you, and we'll take a look at King Charles' speech. Really a historic speech. It was short, impactful, and had a lot of subtle criticism towards the President of the United States, and also kind of showed up the President of the United States on his home turf. We'll take a look at that after I update you on this situation. So as I mentioned, there was a police response to this. Hello, Paul Saar. It's good to see you. So you're looking at scenes from Israel where, in protest of people avoiding the draft and then being arrested, in protest of those arrests, a number of Orthodox Jewish community members took over the home of the chief of the military police in Ashkelon. I'll show you now scenes from the street outside. This was a few hours ago. This led the Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, to issue a statement on social media. No, it's not. There are protests all the time, Shep. Let me contextualize my commentary. It's the taking over of a very high-ranking official's home that it's odd. It's not something that is common, and it's an escalation, especially in response to someone who was arrested. Let me rephrase. To someone who was arrested for not complying with the draft in Israel. It's pretty extreme lengths to go to start arresting people, even if they're expressing a religious belief by not signing up for the draft, and it induced an extreme reaction. Hello. How are you, George, my dear friend? It's so good to see you. All right. Now I'll show you more. I want to show you what the day was like in Lebanon before I move us on. The day in Lebanon was very intense. There was an extensive amount of bombings. Those bombings continued throughout the day. There were at least 17 communities hit. Hezbollah has only responded with 2 attacks over the past 3 hours. I also want to bring you to Tupas in Ukraine, where the fires were burning so intensely throughout the day that they actually started burning down civilian homes. This is in Russia, actually, following a Ukrainian strike. Over 12 days in this specific city of Tupas, that refinery has been hit 3 different times, and it is now burning perpetually. This is in Russia, following a Ukrainian drone strike, actually the 3rd in 12 days on the city of Tupas. So I'll show you now another Ukrainian drone strike in the city of Donetsk on a Russian fuel tanker. Ukraine has been actively attacking Russian gas transport and depots over the past, I'd say, 2 weeks to seriously impact the Russians' ability to move their oil supplies and sell it. Showing you now 4 hours ago in Al-Shabaya town, which was just one of about 30 places bombed by Israel in southern Lebanon today. I don't know how much more anyone can take. now we're going to take a look at King George's speech to the U.S. Congress from earlier today. Again, King George gave a short speech, but a rare speech to the U.S. Congress, and I'm going to show this to you now. This speech, probably one of the most subtle critiques of the U.S. president you'll hear, but perhaps also one of the most important. So I'll jump us right up at the beginning of the King's remarks. Let's take a listen to King Charles speaking
Mr.
a few
Vice
hours
President,
ago in the Congress.
Mr. Speaker, members of Congress, representatives of the American people across all states, territories, cities, and communities. I would like, if I may, to take this opportunity to express my particular gratitude to you all for the great honor of addressing this joint meeting of Congress, and on behalf of the Queen and myself, to thank the American people for welcoming us to the United States to mark this semi-quincentennial year of the Declaration of Independence. And for all of that time, aren't you lucky? And for all of that time, our destinies as nations have been interlinked. As Oscar Wilde said, we have really everything in common with America nowadays, except, of course, language. So, ladies and gentlemen, we meet in times of great uncertainty, in times of conflict from Europe to the Middle East, which pose immense challenges for the international community and whose impact is felt in communities the length and breadth of our own countries. We meet too in the aftermath of the incident not far from this great building that sought to harm the leadership of your nation and to foment wider fear and discord. Let me say with unshakable resolve, such acts of violence will never succeed.
Well, I knew that wouldn't last long. Taking you to Naqoura now, where Hezbollah in the last minute has actively engaged in shelling towards the Israeli positions. So you're looking now at the latest just 2 or 3 minutes ago on the ground in Naqoura. I do expect there to be intense fighting throughout the night, in particular in northern Israel and southern Lebanon, due to 50 at least drone and airstrikes by Israel throughout southern Lebanon. The number of towns is too long to even list. As I am monitoring that situation closely, we will continue to listen to King Charles deliver what was frankly a very short but insightful and historic, by all means, address to the Congress. It's only about 30 minutes, and I'll be monitoring with you as we listen.
Whatever our differences, whatever disagreements we may have, we stand united in our commitment to uphold democracy, to protect all our people from harm, and to salute the courage of those who daily risk their lives in the service of our countries. Standing here today, it is hard not to feel the weight of history on my shoulder, because the modern relationship between our two nations and our own peoples spans not merely 250 years, but over 4 centuries. It is extraordinary to think that I am the 19th in our line of sovereigns to study with daily attention the affairs of America. So I come here today with the highest respect for the United States.
Oh no, apparently I didn't see my friend Tiffany come in. Tiffany Bob, how are you, my dear friend? I've been flying around in a flurry of activity. It's so good to see you. How have you been, my dear friend?
It's Congress, this citadel of democracy.
James Comey has released a video response in regards to his indictment. Thank you to Miss Clutch. And hello again to Tiffany Bob. You are a super towel. Try to say hi to everyone. The flurry of activity. James Comey, for has released a response to his indictment. I will play it for you now. The indicted former FBI director released a video. Here it is.
Well, they're back. This time about a picture of seashells on a North Carolina beach a year ago. And this won't be the end of it. But nothing has changed with me. I'm still innocent. I'm still not afraid. And I still believe in the independent federal judiciary. So let's go. But it's really important that all of us remember this is not who we are as a country. This is not how the Department of Justice is supposed to be. And the good news is we get closer every day to restoring those values. Keep the faith. Well, they're back. This time about a picture of seashells on a North Carolina beach a year ago. And this won't be the end of it. But nothing has changed with me. I'm still
That's
innocent.
all he said.
I'm still not afraid. And I still believe in the independent federal judiciary.
Well, that's all he said. So that was James Comey's statement. Thank you to Ms. Clutch for that. Going back to the King and Parliament.
Represent the voice of all American people to advance sacred rights and freedoms. Speaking in this renowned chamber of debate and deliberation, I cannot help but think of my late mother, Queen Elizabeth, who in 1991 was also afforded this signal honor and similarly spoke under the watchful eye of the Statue of Freedom above us. Today, I am here on this great occasion in the life of our nations to express the highest regard and friendship of the British people to the people of the United States. Now, as you may know, when I address my own Parliament at Westminster, we still follow an age-old tradition and take a member of Parliament hostage, holding him or her at Buckingham Palace until I am safely returned. These days, we look after our guests rather well, to the point that they often do not want to leave. I don't know, Mr. Speaker, if there were any volunteers for that role here today. As I look back across the centuries, Mr. Speaker, there emerge certain patterns, certain self-evident truths from which we can learn and draw mutual strength. With the spirit of 1776 in our minds, we can perhaps agree that we do not always agree, at least in the first instance. Indeed, the very principle on which your Congress was founded, no taxation without representation, was at once a fundamental disagreement between us, and at the same time a shared democratic value which you inherited from us. Ours is a partnership born out of dispute, but no less strong for it. So perhaps in this example, we can discern that our nations are in fact instinctively like-minded, a product of the common democratic, legal, and social traditions in which our governance is rooted to this day. Drawing on these values and traditions, time and again, our two countries have always found ways to come together. And by Jove, Mr. Speaker, when we have found that way to agree, what great change is brought about, not just for the benefit of our peoples, but of all peoples. This, I believe, is the special ingredient in our relationship. As President Trump himself observed during his state visit to Britain last autumn, The bond of kinship and identity between America and the United Kingdom is priceless and eternal. It is irreplaceable and unbreakable. Mr. Speaker, this is by no means my first visit to Washington, D.C., the capital of this great republic. It is, in fact, my 20th visit to the United States and my first as King and head of the Commonwealth. This is a city which symbolizes a period in our shared history, or what Charles Dickens might have called a tale of two Georges.
They're eating it up. Listen, folks don't really understand why he's doing this. He's sending a message with his decorum, with the way he's winning over the room. He's doing this as a message to President Trump and also to the nation. Like, look what a leader does. It's really, I mean, talking about like rubbing it in. It's like to speak in front of the Congress, you actually have to get invited to address a joint session. It's not by right. This whole event was just for the king to deliver this address, and he only speaks for like 30 minutes. He packs this speech in, and wait till you see the crescendo. First of all, he's commanding the whole room. He has them in the palm of his hands. It is corny, it's diplomatic, but it's so mature, and it's such an elevated form of speech. They're not used to it. They're blown away. For them, this is like a treat. You should see most of the speeches they listen to. They're horrible. Truly, they're bombastic, they're boring. Like, you have to really, really listen to get anything of substance out of most political speeches in the U.S. This is completely different for them. Furthermore, wait till you see what the king does as he crescendos. He knows most of the world's media is watching, most of the governments, etc. They're going to watch what he's going to do. He really humbles Mr. President by the end. I was shocked Mr. President didn't go on X and start just tweeting about the king.
The first president, George Washington.
Penny, I would say if it went on for 2 hours, yes, but wait till you see how the speech progresses.
And my 5 times great-grandfather, King George III. King George, as you know, never set foot in America. And please rest assured, ladies and gentlemen, I am not here as part of some cunning rearguard.
The speech after the king, after the speech, his spokesperson just released a statement 30 minutes ago. The king was deeply honored to have been invited to be the first British king to give such an address to the Congress, and was greatly touched by the warmth and generosity of the response he received.
The founding fathers were bold and imaginative rebels with a cause. 250 years ago, or as we say in the United Kingdom, just the other day, they declared independence. By balancing contending forces and drawing strength into diversity, they united 13 disparate colonies to forge a nation on the revolutionary idea of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. They carried with them and carried forward the great inheritance of the British Enlightenment, as well as the ideals which had an even deeper history in English common law and Magna Carta. These roots run deep, and they are...
So noted, George. I'll make sure not to refer to you as your Royal Highness or your Excellency or King George while we're going to the baseball game. I'll make a mental note.
Still vital. our Declaration of Rights of 1689 was not only the foundation of our constitutional monarchy, but also provided the source of so many of the principles reiterated, often verbatim, in the American Bill of Rights of 1791. And those roots go even further back in history. The US Supreme Court Historical Society has calculated that Magna Carta is cited in at least 160 Supreme Court cases since 1789, not least as the foundation of the principle that executive power is subject to checks and balances.
Told you.
This is the reason why there stands a stone by the River Thames at Runnymede, where Magna Carta was signed in the year 1215. This stone records that an acre of that ancient and historic site was given to the United States of America by the people of the United Kingdom to symbolize our shared resolve in support of liberty and in memory of President John F. Kennedy. Distinguished members of the 119th Congress, it is here in these very halls that this spirit of liberty and the promise of America's founders is present in every session and every vote cast. Not by the will of one, but by the deliberation of many, representing the living mosaic of the United States. In both of our countries, it is the very fact of our vibrant, diverse, and free societies that gives us our collective strength, including to support victims of some of the ills that so tragically exist in both our societies today. And, Mr. Speaker, for many here, and for myself, the Christian faith is a firm anchor and daily inspiration that guides us, not only personally, but together as members of our community. Having devoted a large part of my life to interfaith relationships and greater understanding, it is that faith in the triumph of light over darkness which I have found confirmed countless times. Through it, I am inspired by the profound respect that develops as people of different faiths grow in their understanding of each other. It is why, which is my hope, my prayer, that in these turbulent times, working together and with our international partners, we can stem the beating of plowshares into swords. I am mindful that we are still in the season of Easter, the season that most strengthens my hope. It is why I believe with all my heart that the essence of our two nations is a generosity of spirit and a duty to foster compassion, to promote peace, to deepen mutual understanding, and to value all people of all faiths and of none. The alliance that our two nations have built over the centuries, and for which we are profoundly grateful to the American people, is truly unique. And that alliance is part of what Henry Kissinger described as Kennedy's soaring vision of an Atlantic partnership based on twin pillars, Europe and America. That partnership,
New strike on Qaim. The IDF is approaching probably one of the heaviest days of bombing in this war, and no one is saying or doing anything. I'm dumbfounded. Another strike in Qaim. Maybe within the past 3 minutes in Qaim, and there was just a strike in Naqoura. There have been more strikes in Lebanon today than at almost the height of the war, and no one is doing anything. Israel is just bombing at will. No one is in fact, members of the Lebanese army were killed today, or hit. At least 3 were hit. I do not know if they succumbed to their injuries. This was in the last hour and a half. Medics were hit. Okay, the Lebanese army went to go in to do a rescue mission to save some people who were bombed, along with paramedics. They were hit and then buried. 3 Lebanese army members, which is not Hezbollah. So no one is doing anything. They're just bombing at will. I don't really understand what's happening right now, why this is happening, or why it's so unrelenting. It's consistent. It's every 15 minutes. And yes, I can show you all of the videos from throughout southern Lebanon of these explosions. I think the only reason there isn't more massive outrage and response is that Israel thinks if they don't, or Bibi thinks if he doesn't bomb in Beirut, there won't be this outrage. But I don't understand how the world can stand silent. Now I'm just baffled. I can't imagine Iran doesn't know about this. I can't imagine Hezbollah is just going to be passive in all this. It's mind-blowing. It is truly mind-blowing. It has been quite a tough day. I think just the intensity of not knowing really can weigh on us all. So I'm going to continue with the King's Speech, but as each new raid occurs, I will tell you, even if it takes me a second to get the pictures and the images. But there are so many towns and so many images throughout southern Lebanon that have bombings that I'm not even sure the area is habitable or safe for civilians, because it's such a wide-ranging, blanketed area of bombings with no response. What scares me is it reminds me of Gaza, where Israel was able to, the IDF, at the direction of Benjamin Netanyahu, basically just wipe Gaza out and no one did anything, ever.
I believe, Mr. Speaker, is more important today than it has ever been. The first reigning British sovereign to set foot in America was my grandfather, King George VI. He visited in 1939 with my beloved grandmother, Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother. The forces of fascism in Europe were on the march, and sometime before the United States had joined us in the defense of freedom, our shared values prevailed. Today, we find ourselves in a new era, but those values remain. It is an era that is in many ways more volatile and more dangerous than the world to which my late mother spoke in this chamber in 1991. The challenges we face are too great for any one nation to bear alone. But in this unpredictable environment, our alliance cannot rest on past achievements or assume that foundational principles simply endure. As my Prime Minister said last month, ours is an indispensable partnership. We must not disregard everything that has sustained us for the last 80 years. Instead, we must build on it. Renewal.
I'm going to pause for a second. I just want to play a special video in honor of my dear friend Tiffany Bob. This is a special one going out to Tiffany Bob, who is wonderful and appreciated. So, in honor of my dear friend Triple Bob. Oh, okay. I think it's this specific resolution it doesn't like. Alright, go ahead. We have a new Lego video. This one
April
is
25th,
about Cash Patel.
Washington Hilton, dressed up and clean.
I don't know what this one's about.
2,600 people gathered. Biggest night of the scene. Donald Trump walked in, cameras flashing, ties and gowns. Nobody knew the night would end, with chaos going down. And in the middle of it all, one man stood frozen still. Cash Patel, FBI director, apparently against his will. It was supposed to be a good night, black tie on the floor. Cole Allen hit the Hilton, chaos hit the door.
It's pretty soulful.
Cash Patel froze up, didn't make a call. And Alexis Wilkins was somewhere down the hall, holding hands with someone else while the room fell apart. Cash Patel's bad night started long before the dark.
Let me paint the picture slow so you understand the scene. Cole Thomas Allen moved through the lobby unseen. He been staying in that hotel, planned it out for days, gained access through the building in the most alarming ways. Secret Service pulled their weapons, agents hit the floor. Caterers were screaming, sprinting straight toward the door. Robert Kennedy Jr. and his wife got ushered to the lift. Janine Pirro made it out, the Secret Service was swift. But where was Cash Patel in this critical moment of need? The man who leads the FBI, the one who's supposed to lead. Video after video showed him standing in the daze, not assembling any forces, not coordinating plays. No calls being dispatched, no commands going out, just a stun lock. Cash Patel standing full of doubt. Fight or flight or freeze, and freeze is what he chose. While Caitlin Collins gathered facts and filed a live reports, the press was more effective in those critical first frames than the man whose entire job description bears this nation's name. And when Cash finally surfaced 90 minutes past the shot, he walked out through the lobby like he simply forgot. Praised Donald Trump at the briefing, called him an inspiration, while reporters asked the real questions facing this situation. It was supposed to be a good night, black tie on the floor. Cole Allen hit the Hilton, chaos hit the door.
I like it.
Cash Patel froze up, didn't make a call. And Alexis Wilkins was somewhere down the hall, holding hands with someone else while the room fell apart. Cash Patel's bad night started long before the dark.
Thank you to Tiffany Bob and JRP, both of whom found that great video. We're going to go back to the King now, but I just thought we needed a little interlude. It's like watching 12th Night, but better.
Renewal today starts with security. The United Kingdom recognizes that the threats we face demand a transformation in British defence. That is why our country, in order to be fit for the future, has committed to the biggest sustained increase in defence spending since the Cold War, during part of which, over 50 years ago, I served with immense pride in the Royal Navy, following in the naval footsteps of my father, Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, my grandfather, King George VI, my great-uncle, Lord Mountbatten, and my great-grandfather, King George V. This year, of course, also marks the 25th anniversary of 9/11. This atrocity was a defining moment for America, and your pain and shock were felt around the whole world. During my visit to New York, my wife and I will again pay our respects to the victims, the families, and the bravery shown in the face of terrible loss. We stood with you then, and we stand with you now in solemn remembrance of a day that shall never be forgotten. In the immediate aftermath of 9/11, when NATO invoked Article 5 for the first time, and the United Nations Security Council was united in the face of terror, we answered the call together, as our people have done so for more than a century, shoulder to shoulder through 2 world wars, the Cold War, Afghanistan, and moments that have defined our shared security. Today, Mr. Speaker, that same unyielding resolve is needed for the defense of Ukraine and her most courageous people. It is needed in order to secure a truly just and lasting peace. From the depths of the Atlantic to the disastrously melting ice caps of the Arctic, the commitment and expertise of the United States Armed Forces and its allies lie at the heart of NATO, pledged to each other's defense, protecting our citizens and interests, keeping North Americans and Europeans safe from our common adversaries. Our defense, intelligence, and security ties are hardwired together through relationships measured not in years, but in decades. Today, thousands of US service personnel, defense officials, and their families are stationed in the United Kingdom, as British personnel serve with equal pride across 30 American states. We are building F-35s together, and we have agreed the most ambitious submarine program in history, AUKUS. And we are doing it in partnership with Australia, a country of which I'm also immensely proud to serve as sovereign. We do not embark on these remarkable endeavors together out of sentiment. We do so because they build greater shared resilience for the future, so making our citizens safer for generations to come. Our common ideals were not only crucial for liberty and equality, they are also the foundation of our shared prosperity. The rule of law, the certainty of stable and accessible rules, an independent judiciary resolving disputes and delivering impartial justice. These features created the conditions for centuries of unmatched economic growth in our 2 countries. This is why our governments are concluding new economic and technology agreements to write the next chapter of our joint prosperity and ensure that British and American ingenuity continues to lead the world. Our nations are combining talent and resources in the technologies of tomorrow. Our new partnerships in nuclear fusion and quantum computing and in AI and drug discovery, holding the promise of saving countless lives. More broadly, we celebrate the $430 billion in annual trade that continues to grow, the $1.7 trillion in mutual investment that fuels that innovation, and the millions of jobs on both sides of the Atlantic, supported across both economies. These are strong foundations on which to continue to build for generations yet unborn. Our ties in education, research, and cultural exchange empower citizens and future leaders of both countries. The Marshall Scholarship named after the great General George Marshall, and the association of which I am so proud to be patron, are emblematic of the connection between our two countries. Since its founding, more than 2,300 scholarships have been awarded, opening doors for Americans from all walks of life to study at the United Kingdom's leading universities. So as we look toward the next 250 years, we must also reflect on our shared responsibility to safeguard nature, our most precious and irreplaceable asset. Millennia before our nations existed, before any border drawn, the mountains of Scotland and Appalachia were one, a single continuous range forged in the ancient collision of continents. The natural wonders of the United States of America are indeed a unique asset, and generations of Americans have risen to this calling. Indigenous, political and civic leaders, people in rural communities and cities alike, have all helped to protect and nurture what President Theodore Roosevelt called the glorious heritage of this land's extraordinary natural splendor, on which so much of its prosperity has always depended. Yet, even as we celebrate the beauty that surrounds us, our generation must decide how to address the collapse of critical natural systems, which threatens far more than the harmony and essential diversity of nature. We ignore at our peril the fact that these natural systems, in other words, nature's own economy, provide the foundation for our prosperity and our national security. The story of the United Kingdom and the United States is at its heart a story of reconciliation, renewal, and remarkable partnership. From the bitter divisions of 250 years ago, we forged a friendship that has grown into one of the most consequential alliances in human history. I pray with all my heart that our alliance will continue to defend our shared values with our partners in Europe and the Commonwealth and across the world. And that we ignore the clarion calls to become ever more inward-looking. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Vice President, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, America's words carry weight and meaning, as they have since independence. The actions of this great nation matter even more. President Lincoln understood this so well with his reflection in the magisterial Gettysburg Address, that the world may little note what we say, but will never forget what we do. And so to the United States of America, on your 250th birthday, let our two countries rededicate ourselves to each other in the selfless service of our peoples and of all the peoples of the world. God bless the United States and God bless the United Kingdom.
That was the King's speech, ladies and gentlemen. The first ever. I did not know this actually. So setting aside the content, by the way, the reason I watched that. I showed you just saw what was, if you missed it earlier, it was about 4 hours ago, the first ever speech by a sitting king in the United Kingdom to a joint session of Congress. It's never happened before, ever. I didn't know that until the King's spokesperson put out a statement about 30 minutes ago. You just watched the first time that ever happened in history. A sitting king has never addressed a joint session of Congress. So, setting aside the content, whatever you may feel about a given sort of section of the speech, you just saw something that had truly never happened before. Now, I think there's a state dinner. I just want to check in on the state dinner, if you don't mind. Give me 1 second here. We're going to check in on the state dinner. Okay. There's going to be a state dinner. So who the hell knows? Is there going to be an event at the state dinner? Is there going to be any response? Right now, there is an interview actually airing with the head of the spokesperson for the IRGC. It's on Al Jazeera Mubashar, so it's not exactly easy to translate, but I'll give you some of the updates. So he said he's the head of the, I don't know what an Iranian interest section is in Cairo, but he said the following: Iran has the right to control security management in the Strait of Hormuz, and this does not conflict with international covenants. Okay, then he also said the activation of the remaining power tools of the resistance axis, which is the Mujahideen for the Islamic resistance in Lebanon, Hezbollah, the Houthis in Yemen. There is a Mujahideen for the Islamic resistance in Syria as well, and then also the Blood Guardians, which is an umbrella term for the Mujahideen for the Islamic resistance in Iraq, will take place in response to any American spark. So I don't know what exactly that means. I imagine this means because Hezbollah hasn't been launching a lot, it makes me think that Iran has issued like a comprehensive set of orders for what's to happen if America or Israel strikes even once inside Iran. It seems to be a preventative sort of measure. Real Jack Matt, it's so good to see you, my friend. How have you been? I am a towel. I'm monitoring events. We just watched the first ever address by a sitting U.S. king to a joint session of the U.S. Congress. It took place about 3 hours ago. A state dinner is expected to start shortly. Who knows what's going to happen? I monitor each evening. It's coming up on 6:32 p.m. Eastern U.S. time here in Boston. It is Tuesday, April 28, 2026. It is 12:28 a.m., 12:32 a.m. in South Africa. That would be Wednesday, April 29, 2026. It is 1:32 a.m. in Tel Aviv, Israel, and it is 2:02 a.m. in Tehran, Iran. Now, the sort of moments that I watch, the most sort of intense moments of the night, tend to occur between 2 and 4 a.m. in Israel. Okay, so if we can get through 8, 9 p.m. Eastern time without there being any serious chaos, my stress levels tend to go down. But with the pattern of the past few days, I think it is fair to say that anything could happen. It's unfortunate that the war has reached this position where there are two sides who are on diametrically opposed sides. Iran wants a three-phased return to negotiations. I'll read it for you here from the head of the Iranian interest section. His name is Akram Zaki in Cairo. He's doing a live interview now with Al Jazeera Mubashar, and I'm reading it for you as he's talking. He also said, quote, "The giant American warships will burn and be decommissioned if they launch any aggression against Iran." Okay, then he said, political deputy of the IRCG Navy commander, this is Mohammed Akbazadeh, "We will reveal our new capabilities if Washington commits another mistake." That was through El Mayadeen, so two interviews going on at once. Okay, back to Al Jazeera Mubashar, speaking to the head of the Iranian interest section in Cairo. Iran has proposed a new initiative for a solution to the war through multiple phases that includes ending the war and lifting the siege. Okay, another statement from that interview. Iran does not trust the United States and does not want direct negotiations with it. Okay. All right. Now, before we go back to scenes from Iran, this is the view from Topaz in Russia earlier today. This refinery has been burning to the point where the sun has been blocked out, and a major emergency has been declared. I think a state of emergency. Putin actually talks about this. I'll show you the clip later in the day, and tries to downplay it, but I'm telling you, the sun was basically blocked out due to the number of Ukrainian strikes on this specific oil facility in Tupaz in Russia. I don't know enough about different type of hunting to weigh in on what's ethical and what's not. Taking you now to the city of Shiraz, Iran, earlier tonight.
Iran. Iran ثورة قيم جففنا وحمم إيران صدق الوعد بأس الفرد الصمد إيران سافر حيدرة والله مع إيران
كورز قدم بركان ثاير يرمي من رمى سجل طاير فرعون الزمن لابد يغرق وتعود السنن
بهترین شعرهایی که میتونیم بدیم
Shiraz
الله اکبر
الله اکبر
الموت لامریکا الموت لاسرائیل
الموت لاسرائیل
اللعنة على اليهود
Not a lot of people in Shiraz, I guess.
النصر للإسلام
النصر للإسلام
نقول للأعداء من هذه الميادين التي نخرج فيها ليليا لن نتراجع أبدا ثابتون على خط دماء الشهداء سنقابل الوفاء بالوفاء.
You know what? I'll give the people what they want, but the price is a chat reset. All right, I will give you what you want. Hello, Bill Meyer. So good to see you. I'll give you what you want, but I want animal emojis. I'll play the Iran song. The speaker has called for a chat reset. You are thus, if you are so inclined, commanded to present to this honorable house your best emojis, including but not limited to sheep, goat, cat, dog, and other animal-related emojis. Now, in return, I will give you two things. One, I'll play Mimi her favorite video in the entire world. It's a video of goats. And two, we are moving the discussion on by posting lots of emojis, and then I'll play you the Iran song. I understand, Sarah. Be creative. That's why we're going to look at the goat video. Hashtag save the goats. Everybody loves the goats. These are Mimi's goats. Who deleted the video of the goat? No. You did not delete the goat video. Oh, goodness. I can't believe the goat video has been deleted. That is our favorite goat. It has to stay in my browser window. Good thing I have it saved, Mimi. Oh, goodness, you can't just be deleting the goat video. You don't know how many people around... The man who posted the goat video now follows me on Twitter. I'm pretty sure the people of Lebanon know about this stream. Anyway, if you post some goat emojis or things like that, I will give you your favorite song, okay? I'll let it play and you can watch the goats. Thank you for all the emojis, and I know you all want one specific song. Mimi, they came for our goat video. We have to save the goat video. Hashtag save the goat video. Alright, what's going on here? Is Twitter just having some issues? I want this specific song. It has the lyrics and everything. You must load it up. Don't get rid of it. Where is it? Wow, it's just gone. No, you must give me access to my favorite song. Where is it? Oh, this is ridiculous. They took the song away. Oh, no, it's not that. It's just that Twitter's having some issues. Mimi, good news. Mimi, I have wonderful news. They didn't take our goat video away. Twitter is just like going up and down right now. Mimi, I was so worried they took our goat video. Well, you all are going to have to settle for the second song because I can't get your favorite song right now. Twitter is not loading for the minute, so we're going to have to compromise. I will give you the backup song. You all posted a lot of goats, so I will give you your backup song. We actually can't... No, it's not that. We actually can't watch any videos right now because Twitter has been having some issues, so... Let me just give you what you want. I know you want at least one Iran song. You did a great job posting emojis. I'm sorry I couldn't make your favorite song load. It's not really my fault. I have to blame X for this one. You know, X is just not loading right now. It's been going up and down all day. But I do have a song that I think will, you know, satiate some of your requests. So let me see if I can find it. Where is my song? I found it. It's not the song, but it is a song. Thank you for all the emojis. I know you're all thrilled. It's your favorite song. Well, maybe your second favorite song. You all are wonderful. You're very kind, even with the delay to have posted emojis. Now I can join you. Of course, Sarah. Now, yes, oh, that would be great, Standing Stones. I'll put it up on the stream.
من تا تو رو نبینم ازت دست بر نمیدارم
Yes.
ای مهربون تر از پدر و مادرم دوست دارم
We had a chat reset without the adrenaline running. How great is that?
ای مهربون تر از پدر و مادرم دوست دارم گوش به فرمانم فرمانده
Your puppy's wonderful, Standing We're having a great time. Wayne, how are you, my friend? I decided we could post emojis, you know, I do love emojis. Hi, Marsha! So good to see you, my friend. Oh, Mercury Star, that one came out really good. Mercury Star, I think you might have just set the tone. That's the greatest emoji art I've ever seen. Hello, Carol. Oh, Mercury Star, you are very talented. Look at that. Look at that emoji art, my friends. Oh my goodness, it's glorious. Hashtag emoji art, hashtag save the goats. Oh, Penny, those are some wonderful bees. Hi, Kara. Good to see you. Oh, Penny, those are wonderful emojis. Oh, look at those horses. They're racing along. We had a nice little dance party, though. Oh, don't worry, Kara. Thankfully, things have been calm, and God willing, they'll stay that way. Save the bees. We do love the bees. Oh, what a nice sheep emoji. Save the Mustangs. Water under the fridge is like I've been freed from Nightbot. We need Nightbot though. Oh, God bless you, Sarah Be Creative, for a towel of food. My dear friend, you know I will absolutely get some towel food. Oh, we're having a great dance party. Oh, the world's best dance party. This is what everybody needed. Oh, Mercury Star, that's wonderful. Hashtag we love the goats. Hashtag save the goats. This brings back both pleasant and also traumatic memories. Hi, Kazamina. Good to see you. Oh, look at all the great emojis. Oh, I can't wait to see it, Standing Stones. Hashtag save the goats. This was our little decompression. 2 hours already, wow. I didn't even get to cover half the stuff I wanted to. Alright, we're going to the Security Council. They're talking about stuff. Oh, Standing Stones, I have my surgery tomorrow, but I'll definitely look at it when I get out of the doctor, the dentist. I'm scared about the surgery. That's why I'm so nervous tonight. I have a surgery tomorrow.
راستی نیومدی نگرانم فرمانده ای فرمانده
Yes, every Ryan. We have to go to the UN Security Council, actually. Oh, Mercury Star. Oh, you've outdone yourself, my friend. Oh, that's great. But yes, we are going to the Security Council as soon as our break is over. You gotta give me like 4 minutes every 2 hours or my voice goes. Plus, I get so many cool emojis. I mean, where else can you come in, like, during, like, a break, instead of at the top of the hour, seeing a channel talk about, you know, this is what we cover, this is some of our, like, journalists. No, here you get goat videos, a little dance party, and then also I get to bring you to the United Nations, where at the Security Council, a number of different states have been speaking tonight. No, God bless you, water under the fridge. I appreciate all of your positive thoughts and vibes. All of your messages recently about my surgery tomorrow have been very kind. You're wonderful. I really appreciate you all. I'm going to make it through. My doctor prepared me. My dentist prepared me. But they're bringing in an actual dental surgeon. He's like a big time like surgeon. I don't know. I'm a towel, not a doctor. I have no idea how this works. They told me to just show up. I'm gonna do it. They said put aside a couple hours and try to relax, and I was like, oh, okay. I don't know how to do that. I just want to see if there was any UN speeches tonight. Give me 1 second. I saw a few people were speaking at oh yes, so there was a UN meeting tonight. I'm going to take you through a few of the different speeches from the countries at the UN. It just ended, but let's see what the countries had to say. There was a Security Council meeting earlier tonight. It's actually better if they're not doing it live, because that way I don't have to jump between all the countries. It takes them a long time when they have a meeting, like 3 hours. So let's see who spoke at the UN Security Council meeting today. This meeting just concluded. I'm going to take you through each country's remarks. All right, so let's begin with, let's see if we can get the US speaking. Lithuania, Mexico, hold on 1 second, Austria, Australia, Qatar, Saudi Arabia. This is new remarks. We watched some remarks yesterday. These are new remarks tonight. Let's see, Portugal, España, who's this one?
Diplomatic frameworks.
The committee, some kind of committee. Hold on, I'm trying to get to Iran's comments. Let's see what Turkey had to say, actually. This is at the UN. It just ended. Oh, actually, this is Iran. I'm so sorry. This is exactly what I was looking for. So this is Iran's comments about an hour and a half ago at the UN. The Security Council had a meeting tonight. Let's take a listen. It took me a second to find Iran.
أشكر سعادة السيد هادي.
I thank His Excellency Mr. Hadi for his statement.
وننتقل الآن إلى
We now move to Article 37. Rule 37, sorry, and I give the floor to the representative of the Islamic Republic of Iran.
In the name of God, the compassionate, the merciful, Madam President, Gaza remain devastated and under siege. Israel occupying regime continues to violate the ceasefire through military attacks and severe restrictions on humanitarian accesses, deepening hunger and civilian suffering. At the same time, illegal settlement expansion in the West Bank continues in clear violation of international law and relevant United Nations resolutions, further entrenching occupation and instability. The persistent absence of accountability fuels a dangerous culture of impunity. Iran supports any credible efforts to end the suffering of the Palestinian people. Any viable solution for Gaza must ensure a durable and permanent ceasefire, the full withdrawal of occupying forces and unhindered humanitarian accesses, while fully respecting the inalienable right of the Palestinian people to self-determination. In parallel,
is he talking about Palestine? Whoa. He's going to bring Palestine into the negotiations.
Stability is imperative. Those responsible for grave breach of international law, war crimes, and crimes against humanity must be held to account. Israeli aggression is not confined to the occupied Palestinian territory. the regime continues to violate international law across the region through repeated destabilization, an act of aggression in Syrian territory, the ongoing illegal occupation of the Syrian Golan Heights, and persistent violation of the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Lebanon. The Security Council must act decisively to compel Israel to fully uphold the ceasefire in Lebanon, immediately halt all attacks against civilians and civilian infrastructure, and withdraws all its occupying forces. Madam President, on 28 February, the United States and Israel launched an unprovoked war of aggression against sovereignty and territorial integrity of the Islamic Republic of Iran in flagrant violation of international law, including the prohibition on the use of force and the peremptory norm prohibiting aggression. The aggressors have committed grave violation of international humanitarian law, deliberately targeting civilian infrastructure. In one instance, a girls' school in Minab was destroyed, killing more than 168 students. As of 8 April, at least 3,375 civilians have been killed. More than 700 educational institutions, along with healthcare and cultural facilities, have been attacked. Critical industrial infrastructures has also been targeted. The United States and Israel regime must bear full responsibility and must be held accountable. Madam President, security and stability in our region is indivisible and deeply interdependent. Achieving genuine collective security requires a unified response that directly addresses the main source of instability, the occupying regime of Israel. This outlaw and terrorist regime remains a persistent and serious threat to regional and international peace and security. Finally, I categorically reject the baseless allegation raised against my country. Regrettably, some delegation attempt once again to ignore the root causes of the current situation in the region and deflect blame onto Iran rather than address the unlawful and destabilizing actions of the United States and the Israeli regime. I thank you.
I thank the representative of the Islamic Republic of Iran for the statement. I now give the floor to the representative of Turkey.
Okay, let's listen to what
Madam
Turkey
President,
has to say.
Distinguished members of the Security Council, I have the honor to deliver this statement on behalf of the member states of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation in my capacity as the chair. At the outset, I wish to express our sincere appreciation to the Kingdom of Bahrain for convening this quarterly open debate and for the comprehensive briefings provided to the Council. Madam President, in the previous open debate under this agenda item, the OIC Group welcomed the ceasefire agreement for Gaza and the imminent commencement of the phase 2 of the agreement in line with the Security Council Resolution 2803. However, the situation in Gaza and elsewhere in the occupied Palestinian territory remains dire, and the Palestinian people continue to suffer untold hardships and tragedies under Israel's illegal occupation. In addition to the recent decision by Israel to approve new colonial settlements throughout the Palestinian territory, violent Israeli attacks and settler terrorism on the Palestinian civilian population in Gaza and the West Bank, including Quds al-Sharif, have continued with greater intensity and brutality. This has included attacks on children and families and damage to civilian infrastructure, schools, and places of worship, in addition to recent legislation permitting the execution of Palestinian prisoners, thereby constituting a dangerous and unprecedented violation of international humanitarian law by the occupying power, which is not sovereign in the occupied Palestinian territory and has no right to enact such laws, cruelly sealing the fate of the Palestinian population. In the same way, the humanitarian operations of UNRWA have been largely obstructed due to the illegal and punitive Israeli measures and the recent demolition of buildings and facilities, including the agency's main compound in the Quds al-Sharif. Further violations include closure of holy sites, including Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Church of the Holy Sepulchre during Ramadan and Easter celebrations, as well as the Ibrahimi Mosque in Heb.
This is Turkey's representative to the UN, JRP, excellent question, speaking at the Security Council just about maybe 45 minutes ago. A lot of the news channels are reporting on what these delegates were saying, so I said to myself, why don't we just listen to what they said instead of reading summaries, because I kind of just like the primary source. And I'm trying to also show, I think I'm showing more than teaching, but I'm showing you all, instead of reading someone else summarizing what the delegate said, what you want to do is just listen to what they said, because then you can do a few things. One, you actually hear everything they're talking about. It's like a 3-minute speech. Two, you can see how the different outlets, like Al Mayadeen in Lebanon, is going to describe what these different delegates say. They're going to describe it very differently than how Al Jazeera describes it, okay? And Al Jazeera Arabic's going to describe it differently than Al Jazeera English describes it. New York Times, if they cover any of it, will probably only talk about like one sentence. So it really gives you a lens. And the BBC, similar, El País, El Mundo, South China Daily Post, whatever. You can look at how they frame what was covered at this meeting, and it really teaches you about what editors and reporters are doing. What they're doing is taking small segments of statements and making that into a story. But what we want to do is analyze the primary source. It teaches us for when there's intense moments where we're taking in like 50 different feeds at once. It teaches us how to parse the nonsense. So we see the primary source, we learn, we get inside the mind of the different outlets. Outlets think. They're a machine. They're like an institution. So how do all the outlets around the entire world think? Well, the best way to learn is just over and over look at the primary source, look at the differentiation between what the primary source says and what the news media reports, and then apply that learned methodology in the intense moments. So that's the point of this stream, actually. Whether or not you've realized it, I've been teaching you this whole time.
On religious leaders constituting a serious infringement on freedom of worship, violations of historic and legal status quo of the holy sites, and widespread seizure of demolition of Palestinian homes, particularly in Al Bustan neighborhood. It is regrettable that attacks by the Israeli occupying power continue unabated. In just 1 week between 24 and 30th March this year, 138 Palestinians were killed or injured. The total number of recorded casualties since 7 October 2023 now stands at more than 73,500 killed and more than 182,000 wounded. 182,000 wounded. These acts in Gaza against civilians, mostly refugees and displaced persons, and settler violence in the West Bank from a pattern of displacement, colonization, and annexation aimed at ethnic cleansing and permanent control in violation of international law requiring accountability. In this regard, we hereby reject all colonial settlement policies and measures by the Israeli occupying power intended to impose a fait accompli in the occupied Palestinian territory, including Al-Quds al-Sharif, which constitute war crimes and a flagrant violation of international law and relevant UN resolutions, as well as the relevant advisory opinions of the ICJ. We remind that in its July 2024 advisory opinion, the court deemed the entirety of the Israeli occupation to be unlawful, and it must be brought to a complete and rapid end. Madam President, the OIC Group reaffirms the call by the OIC emergency meeting of the Executive Committee held at the level of foreign ministers in Jeddah on 26 February this year to compel Israel, the occupying power, to implement a comprehensive and sustainable ceasefire in the Gaza Strip, ensure full withdrawal of its forces, facilitate the return of displaced persons, and enable the State of Palestine to assume its responsibilities with regional and international support. In the same vein, the OIC Group welcomes the adoption of several resolutions by the UN Human Rights Council during its 61st session from 23rd February to 31st March this year, addressing the situation in the occupied Palestinian territory. These resolutions reaffirm the need for accountability, demand the halt and reversal of Israeli settlement policies, and stress the importance of upholding the inalienable rights of the Palestinian people to self-determination.
All right, now I'm going to take you as we review some of the more, I'd say, impactful statements from tonight's UN Security Council meeting. I'm going to take you to the latest from Topaz in Russia. Ukraine has caused so much damage in Russia that the drone strike that hit 24 hours ago, which was the third in 24 hours, the fire is still burning. This is not a scene from last night. This is not a new attack. Ukraine bombed Russia so hard that a single fire has been burning in this city for 24 hours in a row. That same fire. Not only can they not put it out, the refinery itself, it must barely be functioning. The fire has burned for a day. That same fire. I've been monitoring this. I don't know what kind of drone you use that sets something on fire for 24 hours. It reminds me of the scenes of Kuwait when Iraq invaded Kuwait and then withdrew and burned all the oil wells. That single fire has been burning for over 24 hours. It's almost incredible. I'll show you some more footage earlier in the day, but this is from about 25 minutes ago. This is in Topaz in Russia. This was a single drone. It was probably not one drone, but it was a drone strike that occurred 24 hours ago. I'll show you some pictures during the day from Topaz if I can find them. Oh, speaking of an interesting recording, by the way, did you know that there was a leaked recording that came out today in the news media about the UK ambassador to the US talking about how the US doesn't have a special relationship with the UK anymore? It has the quote Anglo-American special relationship. It has a special relationship with Israel. Let's take a listen.
Is a phrase I try not to utter, because it's quite nostalgic, it's quite backwards looking, and it has a lot of sort of baggage about it. I think there is probably one country that has a special relationship with the United States, and that is probably Israel.
Quite a statement. Quite a statement. That was from the UK ambassador to the US. I'll try to find, but I think even showing you the strikes, showing you the strikes on Topaz during the day is actually worthwhile, because the amount of fires that were burning, it actually blacked out the sun and caused Russia to declare a mass emergency in the city. There has been a lot of Ukrainian bombings of Russian oil facilities, but very rarely have I seen the bombings actually black out the sun and cause the Russian government to declare an emergency. So I'm going to show you some of these scenes from Topaz throughout the day. The fire is still burning to this moment in Topaz, Russia, following the Ukrainian drone strike. This was it earlier today. It actually caused an environmental and a state of emergency in this city. You are not hallucinating. That is the same fire I just showed you tonight. That was about 7 hours ago in the daytime. That is a single fire caused by one round of drone strikes 24 hours ago in Topaz, Russia. It has burned to the point where there is a state of emergency in the Russian city of Topaz. I'm not even sure, I'm not even sure how there can be so much flammable material that fire can just burn perpetually. It's like part of the city of Topaz now, perpetually. They don't know how to put it out, I suppose. It's too much to put out. It's almost unimaginable, the scope of the damage that must be impacted on the environment, on the people around that. It must be a serious emergency for Russia to actually declare the whole city under threat. I'm not sure how Ukraine managed to do that. I'm not an expert in using drones to set oil refineries on fire. Thank God, I don't want to be an expert in that. But I'm telling you that this situation is going to become a catastrophe sooner rather than later, because they can't control this fire. It's not like the fires in the ports either. This is in the middle of a residential area. Let me show you just one impact of this. it actually has been causing fires to spill over into the residential areas of Tupaz because of how intense it is. I don't think it's a Chernobyl level situation, but it is absolutely a situation that's putting a serious number of people at risk. I'm not sure how many people live in the Russian city of Tupaz, but if this fire just continues to burn at the pace it's burning, it blocked out the sun. So I imagine you will hear more and more about this if there's just an uncontrolled and unmitigated environmental disaster occurring in the Russian city of Tupaz. So I'm going to show you now the fires actually breaking over into the residential areas. And again, it's not like you can stop this. These are oil fires. So that is the Russian city of Tupaz. I was not over exaggerating when I was trying to explain like the serious nature of this. That's not a building burning in Tupaz. That is oil burning on the streets because the drone bombings caused all the liquid petroleum that is on fire to spill over into the residential neighborhoods. So, yeah, it's a serious problem. And it's not contained. I think that's probably the most important thing to explain about this. It's a completely uncontained oil fire burning in a very large Russian city. X-Man, don't you worry about that. I will stand up against Nightbot's tyranny for you, my dear friend. How dare you, Nightbot? You be nice to X-Man, how dare you? X-Man, I'll defend your honor. But yes, this is a very concerning situation. It's unlike a lot of bombings in war, which are very isolated, and then even in bombing raids, even on facilities like this, they tend to be isolated within the facility. These bombings have caused this, and you can see it's more than one fire. They've caused an absolute catastrophe in this Russian city. I think there's a bit of a news blackout about it because it makes Putin look very bad and very weak. But yeah, there's something extremely wrong in the Russian city of Tupaz. And again, my opinion, I'm not an analyst of, oil refineries being hit by drones, but whatever Ukraine did to that oil refinery, it has caused a very serious humanitarian catastrophe in that city. This is day, I'd say, 2 of that specific fire, and you can't see it as much in the nighttime, but that cloud, that toxic cloud of petroleum is taking up, I'd say, probably a mile in the sky. So that's probably where the most intense activity is right now, if I had to say. I also want to show you an intense series of raids, or bombings as they are called, in the town of Kantata. Israel earlier today claimed that they blew up one of the largest Hezbollah tunnels in the south of Lebanon. The explosion caused like seismic shakes underground throughout the south of Lebanon. You're looking now at the footage. This was one of about 75 Israeli raids, but this was the biggest by far. Earlier today, in the south of Lebanon, Israel exploded, this is in Kantata, what can only be explained as a giant Hezbollah tunnel. I mean, substantial. The explosions rocked the area for probably 3 minutes. This was one of a series of 50 bombing raids earlier today in the south of Lebanon. There has been no response by Hezbollah. Let me rephrase. I want to use the exact data. There was one alert in Miskav Am 8 hours ago, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. There was one alert in Kiryat Shimona, Manada, and Marjaliot, respectively. That was at 3:58 p.m. Eastern Time, okay, about 3 hours ago. And then there was one more alert, also at about 4:32 Eastern Time, so about 3 hours ago, in Hanita, Shlomi, Betzet, Metsuba, and Rosh Hanikra. There has been no other response from anyone to probably what has been the heaviest day of bombing in South Lebanon since the 100 bombs in 10 minutes that were dropped on the first day of the ceasefire that killed over 300 people. There are at least 11 people dead in South Lebanon and over 51 injured, according to the latest reports I was able to read on the ground. Probably the heaviest day, and what is eerie about it, what rings ominous, is that there has not been a response of any kind. It's 7:09 p.m. Eastern. It's Tuesday, April 28th, 2026 here in Boston. It's it is 1:09 a.m. in South Africa on Wednesday, April 29th, 2026. It's 2:09 a.m. in Tel Aviv, Israel, and it's 2:39 a.m. in Tehran, Iran. It is the lack of response to that extremely heavy shelling that is ominous. It feels like my best read of it is that Hezbollah is being told to save their missiles by Iran because they have some kind of plan and they expect an attack, a surprise attack by the Americans or the Israelis. That's the best I can do it. God bless you, Carol Griffith. I agree. I consider myself blessed every day to wake up not under the falling of bombs, and it's one of the things that I think keeps me so attentive to the pace of this conflict and the developments of the conflict, because I can only imagine the tension that the people who live under the threat of these bombs feel, being in a perpetual state of suspended animation, because both sides or all sides of this conflict are just pretending like they're moving towards peace, when in reality they are intransigent at best on their positions, very far away on negotiations, and fundamentally bellicose in their rhetoric. And I don't see a way out, which is why I try to monitor things as closely as possible, because I am deeply concerned. Let's move forward now from Turkey. I would like to listen to Lebanon's comments tonight. I believe Lebanon also made some comments tonight at the UN Security Council. I don't know where Lebanon's comments are. I see Venezuela. Okay, but what about Lebanon? Didn't Lebanon make a speech as well? I heard Lebanon also spoke. Okay, is that Lebanon? India, Japan, Belgium, Lebanon. All right, let's take a listen to Lebanon's comments right now from earlier tonight.
Resurgence of Daesh and other terrorist groups remains.
I thank His Excellency Mr. Lambrinidis for the statement. I now give the floor to the representative of Lebanon.
Sayyid Rais.
This was about an hour ago at the UN.
President, we meet today 12 days after the cessation of hostilities between Lebanon and Israel, thanks to the appreciated mediation of the United States of America. We highly value this effort of President Donald Trump and his team, especially in response to the initiative of the President of the Lebanese Republic and the sovereign positions of the Lebanese government. Today, we reaffirm our determination to move forward in our efforts to reach comprehensive and sustainable solutions. These would preserve Lebanon's and the Lebanese people's rights. It will ensure that they can live safely on their land following Israel's withdrawal from our territory. Will also ensure the return of prisoners and abductees. We reiterate that the Lebanese government will not compromise on a single meter of the Lebanese territories, and we will not accept any form of occupation. We stress that Lebanon, regardless of the cost, will not be subordinate to axes of influence, nor a tool for settling scores on its territories, will not be a bargaining chip used in negotiations. The Lebanese state alone is authorized to negotiate on its behalf in defense of its national and sovereign interests and the fate and future of its people. Madam President, while the diplomatic track is progressing and Lebanon is seriously engaged in that path, developments on the ground remain extremely dangerous. Israel continues to violate Lebanon's sovereignty. They are targeting civilians, medical personnel, hospitals, journalists, Lebanese security services, and UNIFIL forces. This comes in addition to the systematic destruction of villages, towns, infrastructure, and places of worship. Even a statue of Jesus Christ was not spared from attempts at its desecration. Lebanon condemns in the strongest terms these Israeli attacks, which clearly and unequivocally violate the Charter, international laws, and international humanitarian law. They amount to war crimes in certain instances. We follow with grave concern the practices of the Israeli army in southern Lebanon. These include those reported by Israeli media regarding systematic theft operations. According to the same sources, it appears to occur without any accountability or punishment. How can such practices contribute to building the necessary trust required for any future negotiation process? And what's the purpose of statements issued by Israeli ministers calling for the occupation of broader areas of Lebanese territory or threatening to burn Lebanon and all its cedar trees? In the same context, the statement delivered by the representative of Israel this morning, in its part relating to Lebanon, a number of falsehoods. One of those is undermining the credibility of the Lebanese government. This is a practice Israel has long pursued through its continuous violations of the 2024 cessation of hostilities declarations, and we have repeatedly warned against the consequences of such a path before your esteemed council. What's more dangerous in our view is Israel's undermining of the credibility of the guarantor.
Breaking in now, there is a significant fire in the Ukrainian port city of Izmail, located in Ukraine's Odessa Oblast, due to Russian strikes with Shahed-Geran-type long-range strike drones tonight. The attack is ongoing. Taking you to the Ukrainian port, so Russia has responded, quite obviously. Russia responds to a lot of Ukraine's attacks, but the attack on Tupas in particular has induced a Russian response. This is the latest in the past 3 minutes from the Ukrainian port city of Izmail, located in Ukraine's Odessa Oblast. The attack is ongoing right now. These are the latest pictures. You're looking now at a massive fire burning in the Ukrainian port city of Izmail, located in Ukraine's Odessa Oblast, due to Russian strikes in the past 3 minutes. The attacks are ongoing as I report this to you now, and I will take us back to the UN, but that is the latest imagery I have. Oh, God bless you, Bill Mayer. I'm trying to, it might be Meyer or Mayer, but it is great to see you, my dear friend. Thank you for those chilies. Nothing like some Jules and chilies to spark towel with some energy, and I am appreciative of you for that. We're heading towards the 3 a.m. hour, and things are eerily quiet yet again. It's both positive, but also incredibly distressing to have such eerie silence after such intense bombing raids throughout the day. Oh, God bless you, Bill. I am going to treasure those jewels and chilies. They're wonderful. I love them very much. Let's finish Lebanon's speech at the UN now.
States of the 2024 cessation of hostilities declaration. These are France and the United States, and currently undermining the efforts undertaken by the United States aimed at de-escalation and advancing sustainable peaceful solutions. Mr. President, Lebanon today counts on the support of the brotherly and friendly countries. We emphasize the importance of reactivating the conference in support of the Lebanese armed forces convened at the invitation of France with the support of the Quintet. We also express our appreciation to all countries contributing to the UNIFIL. We pay tribute to the memory of peacekeepers who lost their lives in Lebanon. We renew our condolences to both Indonesia and France. In this context, we affirm our serious engagement with all relevant parties to chart the post-UNIFIL mandate phase in a manner that ensures stability along the border and the implementation of Security Council Resolution 1701. Mr. President, we underscore the importance of safeguarding the freedom of navigation for commercial and civilian vessels as enshrined in international law, particularly the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. In this regard, we welcome the announcement of a ceasefire between the U.S. and the Islamic Republic of Iran. We commend the mediation efforts, particularly those undertaken by Pakistan. We hope these efforts would lead to a comprehensive and lasting agreement. We reiterate Lebanon's condemnation of Iranian attacks targeting the Gulf Arab countries, Iraq and Jordan, and of violations of these brotherly states' sovereignty and the unacceptable threat posed to their security and stability. We welcome the positive trajectory of relations with the sister Syrian Arab Republic. We commend the level of coordination and consultation between the two countries, particularly the need to ensure border control and preventing any security breakdown, while emphasizing respect for the sovereignty and territorial integrity of both states and respecting the principle of non-interference in internal affairs. In light of Syria's recovery and stabilization, we see a genuine opportunity to advance the path towards the safe and dignified return of Syrian displaced persons in a gradual and organized manner. Turning to the sister state of Palestine, we affirm that achieving peace and security in the region remains contingent upon ending the Israeli occupation and its practices. We must enable the Palestinian people to attain their legitimate rights. Foremost among them is the establishment of their state along the lines of the 4th of June of 1967, with East Jerusalem as its capital. Mr. President, today we go through a pivotal stage in Lebanon's history, in which a long chapter is being closed, one in which national decisions were tied to external calculations. Lebanon will no longer accept the wars of others on its territory, nor their projects, nor the continuation of attacks against it from any party. The future belongs solely to the state and to a just peace that protects all Lebanese. Mr. President, the solutions are available and attainable. Let this council shoulder its responsibility. Let Israel respect the ceasefire and honor its commitments to the American mediator and implement this council's resolution 1701. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank the...
Okay, now let's check in on the state dinner. Shockingly, there has been no response attacks of any kind towards Israel following what has been arguably the second most deadly day of the ceasefire, but easily the most deadly day in South Lebanon in the past week. Maybe 3 response attacks. Almost an eerie and unsettling silence, indeed. My name is Grant Smith Ellis. Let's take a peek in at the state dinner, and I'll show you a few more peeks on the ground. I actually did I have surgery tomorrow, so I gotta rest up. I'm gonna faint. There is no doubt. It's almost guaranteed that Towel is gonna faint tomorrow. So, but out of everything that one can face in the world, the fact that I'm going to faint is not the worst thing in the world. So, let me show you a few more things on the ground. I want to check in on the state dinner. It's taken a second. Let's take a look. We're just checking in live now on the state dinner as guests are arriving. You're taking a look now live at the White House where guests are arriving. Guests are arriving now for the state dinner. This is live. You are looking live at the White House. This is the pool feed. You're looking live. Hi, Francine. I got your email, my friend. I didn't get to read it. I got to get Peep. Peep, your friend Francine is here. She loves you so much. Francine, Peep adores you, Francine. He just wanted to say hi. This is the channel mascot. It is a serious news channel, but at the end of the streams, although I'm not saying this is the end, it might be. I might want to rest up. I do actually have a serious surgery tomorrow, so. But this is Pete Bunny Towel. His best friend is Francine. Francine's in the chat. She loves Pete Bunny Towel. Okay, I've never met anyone other than myself who loves Pete Bunny Towel as much as Francine loves Pete Bunny Towel. She sees Pete Bunny Towel. It's just the greatest day of her life. You know what I'm saying? You're taking a look live now, where guests have arrived at the state dinner. Let's take a look actually at the arrival. Give me 1 second. I can show you the actual arrival. It only took like 10 minutes. Let me show you the arrival of guests at tonight's state dinner. We caught the very end of it. Yes. We caught the very end of the arrival of guests for tonight's state dinner. This is Pete Bunny Towel, by the way. Look, Francine's having the day of her life. She got to see Pete Bunny Towel. She's excited. And thankfully, no bombs fell. Shockingly. Well, a drone was shot down over the green zone in Baghdad, which is definitely a bit concerning. I'm keeping an eye now. I just want to show you the arrival of the guests at tonight's state dinner. This is literally what's happening right now in Washington. You're looking at the latest pictures from outside the White House, where the guests have arrived for the state dinner. Oh, yes. Oh, yes, there is Camilla. There is, I think, King Charles. Yes, he shakes the hand of Mr. President. A kiss between the First Lady and Camilla. Oh, yes. Ah, yes. Me and Pete Bunny Towel. You've always wanted royal commentator towel. Ah, yes. The President and the King, they stand. Ah, yes. A very formal ceremony. Pete Bunny Towel, what do you think about this all? He mostly condemns the communists. You can't get him started on politics. You know, he thinks this is all great. Or he just wanted to know if any of them were communists. I told him I don't think so. He speaks a very specific, you know, Pete Bunny Towel style language. So anyway, that's Mr. President Trump. That's the King of England. My name's Grant Smith Ellis, and this is Pete Bunny Towel. You know, very, very erudite, you know, royal commentary, as quite an awkward moment as the King stands, you know, next to Mr. President. This was about 3 minutes ago. The latest pictures from Washington on Towel News. Yes, yes, this is what politics is all about. Two old men standing awkwardly next to each other as the Queen and the First Lady adorn their arms. Yes, American and British politics in a nutshell, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, yes, this is truly the mark of excitement. Yes, yes, as the two gentlemen escort each other into the White House, where they will sit down and eat meals of food. Oh, yes. Yes, this is the epitome of aristocratic Epsteinocracy, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, there's nothing like awkward silence between two old men who are fleeting in their control over a world spiraling ever more downward, at least towards liberation, but in a way where they won't be able to determine history's syntactical, dialectical outcome. I know, I took a hard turn there. It was great. I know, all of a sudden you were like, wait a minute, are we talking about Hegel? Is that man holding a stuffed Pete Bunny towel while commenting on the President and the King of England and Hegel at the same time? And did he say Epsteinocracy? What is this? Is this Monty Python? Is this some kind of hybrid? Am I in an alternate dimension? I'm sure you've thought about all of those things. But, you know, either way, I'm a towel. All right, so we don't have to be done for the day. We can play a song, but I think I have updated you sufficiently, and no further bombs fell. So nightly news recaps are expected to run between 2 and 4 hours. Here's a general expectation. If you see a Breakfast with Towel stream, 2 to 4 hours. If you see a nightly news recap, if that's what it's titled, 2 to 4 hours. If you see something without those titles, like U.S.-Iran War Part X, that means I'm anticipating to go for a substantial amount of time. I have a surgery tomorrow. God bless all of you. Thank you for keeping me in your towel prayers. I should be, you know, I think I probably won't stream tomorrow barring an emergency because I'm going to have had surgery. But hopefully I will have been recovered by the next day. Hashtag save towel from, you know, agony. But yes, keep me in your prayers tomorrow. I'll keep you all updated. It shouldn't be the most intense surgery by any means, but, you know, I don't like anything involving needles. I'll show you a few more images now from Ukraine. Excuse me, from Tupaz in Russia throughout today. Allow me to bring this up for you. A U.S. official, by the way, to Fox News is quoted as saying, Iran wants to buy more time to better organize its military situation, but that will not happen. Oh, thank you, Diane. God bless you. Yes, Francine, Peep loves to be able to say hi to you. He's very much a fan of Francine. He thinks Francine is just the best. You should see how excited he gets. According to Reuters, as I mentioned earlier, that was the source. I'm sorry, I forgot to attribute it to a source. It was Reuters who noted that Iraqi security forces shot down a drone that was flying over the Green Zone in Baghdad, the government district. Here is a better angle of the fire in Tupaz, which is threatening, according to some reports, to pose an ecological disaster on the scale never really seen before. So you are looking at that fire, one of those fires at its base. This is in Tupaz, Russia. It is burning uncontrollably. It's not like that was a fire that burned and they put out. That is still burning, in fact, 24 hours later, and it has caused an ecological disaster at the very least, probably a humanitarian disaster in Tupaz, Russia. That was the result of a Ukrainian drone strike on the Tupaz oil refinery. So yes, in preparation, we'll do our outro. I will not deprive you of your outro. I will do that for you. We'll do Tippecanoe and Tyler 2, of course, but I would like to play a song. We can do Tippecanoe and Tyler 2 first. Triplet Bob loves Tippecanoe and Tyler 2. That's where I list the U.S. presidents in order, as many as I can do. So we got President Washington, President Adams, President Jefferson, President Madison. Skip forward to 8, which is Van Buren. Skip forward to 13, Andrew Jackson. Then we pick up on Tippecanoe and Tyler 2. So you got Polk, Taylor, Pierce, Buchanan, Lincoln, Johnson, Grant, Rutherford B. Hayes. I'm going to get it. Garfield, Chester A. Arthur, Cleveland, Harrison, Cleveland, McKinley, Teddy Roosevelt, William Howard Taft, Woodrow Wilson, Harding, Coolidge, Hoover, FDR, Truman, Eisenhower, Kennedy, Johnson, Nixon, Ford, Carter, Reagan, Bush 1, Clinton, Bush 2, Obama, Trump, Biden, Trump. You might have said to yourself, oh, wow, he actually had to think for a second. Well, 1, getting Garfield and then Chester A. Arthur in order is really hard. Number 2, I have a surgery tomorrow, so my mind's a little bit elsewhere. Number 3, I was really looking forward to playing this song on you. You know what I'm saying? So this song I'm going to play for you is a nice way to end the night. Now, listen. You don't got to go home, all right? But Tal's got to get ready for his surgery tomorrow. So, again, you don't got to go home, all right? But you can't stay here. And you know what song's coming. Yes, we all want it. We all love it. It's a great song. It's a great, it's the perfect way to end the evening. Here we go. Take us home. And yes, join the Towel Discord. What a great way to end. Shout out Triplet Bob. You don't gotta go home, but you can stay here. Yes. 2 more pieces of news before we go. The UAE left OPEC in a huge move that benefits the U.S. but puts them on a tough, intense, hostile footing with Saudi Arabia. This probably was the result of Saudi Arabia being unwilling to join the war against Iran because UAE really wants to join the war. Also, Ms. Clutch reports that the U.S. Senate has voted down a resolution that would have blocked Mr. President Trump from declaring war on Cuba without congressional approval. Let's begin.
Closing time, open all the doors and let you out into the world. Closing time, turn all of the lights on over every boy and every girl. Closing time, one last call for alcohol, so finish your whiskey or beer. Closing time, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. I know who I want to take me home. comes from some other beginnings.
Thank you, Docs Watson. Last orders, nothing but thieves. Let's see, I wouldn't mind one more. I am a little nervous about my surgery. Joyce, God bless you. Oh, water under the fridge. God bless you. God bless you, my dear friend. I have faith the dentist is going to make sure Towel is not in pain. We'll see. God bless all of you. I have faith tomorrow's going to go well. I do want to see if I can find this song as well. You are so kind, Water Under the Fridge. All of you. And Joyce, my dear friend, I wish my phone would alert me when things come in so I could say thank you. Please, if you ever want to alert me in chat, you are so kind if you do send a donation. And I promise you I'll immediately go to my phone. Oh, Joyce, God bless you, my friend. I really appreciate your kindness and Water Under the Fridge and all of you who helped Towel stay alive. My stress levels about staying alive have gone down. I just have the most wonderful and beautiful girlfriend, and she makes my heart sing every minute of every day. I can't wait for you all to meet her. We're going to travel. I'm going to meet some of you, hopefully a lot of you. I'm going to film it. Nikki is just so smart and wonderful, and she just makes my soul radiate joy. She's just great. I can't wait for you to meet her. And you all have brought me to a position where I love myself, and therefore I was able to be loved, and I never thought that was going to happen. So I'm just so grateful, even among these intense times of war, that we've all found each other, and you all are so compassionate towards each other and also towards me. I'm very grateful. I never thought I would find this kind of happiness in life, and for it to be juxtaposed with so much suffering does bring a certain bittersweetness to it all, certainly, and I do reflect and pray on that a lot, but it also just means so much to me. I never thought I would be free or happy or loved, and all three have happened, and I've got to meet so many wonderful people. Oh, anyway, I just wanted to tell you I didn't think it would be possible, but it is because of all of you, and I'm very grateful every day, even though I'm nervous about my surgery. But even all your prayers are making me feel better. And also, hashtag save the goats. I love the goats. God bless you, Marcia, and Mercury Star, and Carol, and Kara, and Standing Stones, and Petty LaBelle, and Mimi, of course, and Francine, and Tiffany Bob, and the baby goats, and Triple Bob. I love the baby goats. Hashtag save the baby goats. All right, one more song. I think we can do one more. Let me see if I can play the song that was requested. Hold on here. Wait, what was it called here? Nope, that was not what it was called. It was in the queue here. What was it called? What was it called? Hold on. I saw the song request. We might have to check for it tomorrow. Oh, I don't want to miss it. Yeah, I'll check the song queue tomorrow. It is so much easier to love rather than hate. So to end your broadcast day on Towel News, as we come up on 7:40 p.m. Eastern U.S. time here in Boston, it is Tuesday, April 28th, 2026. It is, let's see, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1:39 a.m. in South Africa, Wednesday, April 29th, 2026. It's 2:39 in Tel Aviv, Israel, and it is 3:09 a.m. in Tehran, Iran. So let's end with just a nice song here to end your broadcast day. Wonderful First Lady Nikki. Yeah, she'll make a great First Lady, I think so. I think I would like to end our day with just, a peaceful song. We don't need to get too upbeat. I like to end the broadcast day, so let's end it with this song. It's very peaceful. Thank you for watching Towel News. Joyce, God bless you, my dear friend. What a touching tribute. What a touching tribute. What a touching way to end your broadcast day. Thank you so much for welcoming me into your home today. Thank you for watching this public information service. Thank you for supporting Towel News, and thank you for supporting independent reporting. Feeling down, I listen to K Rhino every day. Oh, water under the fridge. I'm gonna send you some prayers. You know what? I think we need a K Rhino song. You know what? Water Under the Fridge wants a K Rhino song. I'm gonna give Water Under the, if that makes Water Under the Fridge, smile. We'll have a false ending. That's what you call a dusty finish. It's from wrestling. All right, I'm pulling a dusty finish and giving Water Under the Fridge a K Rhino song. You know why? Because that's what Water Under the Fridge deserves. I'm gonna make their day. It's gonna be great. I can't guarantee it's going to be a necessarily uplifting song, but we're going to find one. All right, it's going to be called, let's see, Look at How the World Is by K Rhino and DLP. All right, actually, yeah, okay, we can do that one. Let's do it. Look at How the World Is. Just a sample for my dear friend. Oh, I am not feeling down every day is the song. I am not feeling down. All right, let's see if we can play it. Oh, it's not in here. However, I'll give you a little
foreign, so just look at how the world is now. People losing their mind. We live in a scary time, homie. Look at how the world is.
This is a good song.
People are masquerading as godly, but really Satan. So just look at how the world is now.
Gotta give Water Under the Fridge what they
but today is times 10, homie. Look at how the world is now. I never seen so much hatred in my whole life. Dark clouds, even in the summer it's a cold night. Large crowds gathering in cities for the protests. Oppressed people keep injustice in their whole chest. These policymakers wanna minimize our brain use. They pushing for violence, they don't really want no gang truce. The hood is a hang noose, ghetto full of broke men. How you want the dope out when you bringing the dope in? How we either selling it for green or a dope fiend. Black on black crime, that's a manufactured smoke screen. Stolen opportunities, no chance for the working man. Poverty methodically planned, created circumstance. Hard to look directly at our streets, it even hurts to glance. Only unity could take the power out this person's hands. Disdain of original people is at the heart of it. If you're unable to recognize that you're a part of it, go. Government starting war, it's evil, local or foreign. So just look at how the world is now. People losing their mind. We live in a scary time, homie. Look at how the world is now.
I agree, Carol.
People are masquerading as godly, but really Satan. So just look at how the world is now. It was bad way back then, but today is times 10, homie. Look at how the world is now. You can't motivate a soldier if you come at them soft. We ain't losing our children, damn fool, we running them off. Buying gifts and giving money, that's the minimum, fool. You turn them over to the devil when you send them to school. Cultivation of their minds makes them decent and strong. We need to first educate ourselves and teach them at home. That'll protect them from the shady cultural uprooting. Or some maniac walking down the hallway shooting. You ain't spending time with them, you don't feel like you have to. Then get mad cause they looking up to hustlers and rappers. They ain't in the
hashtag
church,
support Towel News.
Scream and holler, you trying to force a book on them that you don't even follow. They ain't feeling love at home, I told y'all once. So they look for happiness in liquor bottles and blunts. You being weak when you need to be tough in the house. And then you wonder why your son or daughter cussing you out. Go. Government starting war, it's evil, local
God bless you,
so
Joyce.
just look at how the world is now. People losing their mind, we live in a scary time, homie. Look at how the world is now. People are masquerading as godly, but really Satan. So just look at how the world is now. It was bad way back then, but today is times 10, homie. Look at how the world is now. It's like the guns bust faster, the people kill quicker. It's more ways to get high, the people way sicker. The racial tension thicker. Everybody's uncomfortable. The youngsters much wilder, the parents more irresponsible. Poverty more prevalent, conditions more hideous. The men more iniquitous, women the more
more insidious. Individuals more dumbed down and oblivious, not privy to how critically serious it really is. False flag operations keep citizens furious. Peaceful moments seem to only last for short periods. Family ain't family, marriage is an atrocity. Existence of the Most High relegated to mockery. Not shockingly, we succumb to gravity slow. Political activities are a reality show. Integrity, we yet to see human morality. Now unhappily ever after as the casualties grow. Government starting war, it's even local or foreign. So just look at how the world is now. People losing their mind, we live in a scary time, homie. Look at how the world
Really
is now.
good track.
People are masquerading as godly, but really Satan. So just look at how the world is now. It was bad way back then, but today is times 10, homie. Look at how the world is now.
So that was K Rhino. Look at how the world is. Really good track. I love that a lot of the... So not every K Rhino album is in the music sharing or the pre-licensed database. I really like the tracks that are in there, though. I'm really grateful to Water Under the Fridge for introducing me to K Rhino. That last track in particular was really good. That was a special encore. I know. That was great, Water Under the Fridge. That whole track, all like 4 minutes and 40 seconds of it was great. All of the verses, all 3 verses were great. The hook was great. 10 out of 10. Seriously, I don't give hip-hop tracks that high of a rating that often. I listen to a lot of tech. So if you're going to do a good hip-hop track, you better, especially if it's going to be like a modern track, it needs to be cogent and erudite. That was great. That was our great like sociological commentary. Max Weber would be proud. I love it. God bless you, Water Under the Fridge. Shep, that's okay. Listen, Shep, every piece of art speaks to people differently. I personally grew up when I was like 12 on like Black Mass by Dick Layer, a great book by Peter Irons about decisions of the Supreme Court, which I really like. I don't know where it is. I have it around here somewhere. And then I also grew up on Las Mariposas, the Butterfly Sisters, a great like book about their battle against El Trujillo in the Dominican Republic, and then Immortal Technique. So, well, a little bit of Eminem, Bob Dylan's entire catalog, you know, a lot of the Beatles, a lot of Queen, a lot of Led Zeppelin, a lot of Pink Floyd. But my biggest intellectual influences are easily the Butterfly Sisters, Immortal Technique, Dick Layer, and then probably Peter Irons. I was reading Supreme Court decisions in like 4th grade. My parents just gave me this book that was like oral arguments from the Supreme Court, like from 37 through like 1992. Let me rephrase, from when they were recorded, so probably like 56 through 92. And every morning as like a 9-year-old, I would just sit there because it had the transcripts too, and I would just read transcripts of Supreme Court decisions. Now that I think about it, it was actually a bit of an odd thing to do as a 9-year-old. I really got to know those cases though. By the time like I was 15, I was very conversant in major precedent. I don't like, it was like Texas v. Johnson, and what are some of the Brown v. Board was definitely in there. There were some obscure ones too, but I read all the great ones, and they were like selected excerpts of the Supreme Court opinions. And May It Please the Court was the name of the book. It was a really, really good book. So anyway, but I'd say so like every Supreme Court justice quoted in that book, and then also Dick Layer, and then Immortal Technique, and then Las Mariposas, and then Bob Dylan. Those were really my intellectual influences as a young washcloth. So you can see why I am the way I am, you know. Oh, God bless you, Karamia. Yeah, you know, there was the time in, let's see, it was right after WrestleMania 17 in April of 2001. You know, little washcloth was 11 years old and reading Black Mass, which was written by Dick Layer of the Boston Globe about Whitey Bulger and, you know, the FBI being very corrupt in the 90s in Boston. And, you know, little 11-year-old Towel, I like to watch, like, Garfield before school. So I'd watch 30 minutes of Garfield at 6 a.m. on Channel 25, and then instead of watching the Magic School Bus, because that's what my sister liked to watch, I would walk her to school to make sure no one bothered her, you know what I'm saying. She was a little young, 2 years younger than me. Anyway, so she would watch the Magic School Bus, and I would go read Black Mass. Now, normally that's where this story would end, but no, not me, because my life is defined by historical serendipity. So Little Washcloth, being me at 11 years old, is reading Black Mass every morning and then watching like Stone Cold and The Rock and the Hardy Boys and all of that WWF Attitude Era in the apex of its sort of accomplishments in the lead up to WrestleMania 17 at Alliance Stadium. Actually, I think it was actually in an arena in Texas in 2001. Anyway, so I would watch that at night, you know, go over to my friend's house. We'd split the pay-per-view 5 ways. Instead of paying $29.99, we only had to pay $5 each. It was a great idea. You ordered the pay-per-views over the phone. So anyway, I was a 6th grader, and, you know, normally the story would just end with, and I had an intellectual interest in Black Mass, the book by the Boston Globe reporter Dick Layer about Whitey Bulger and the FBI. Well, no, not me. You see, Little Washcloth went to school with Dick Layer's son. So I don't think Dick Layer's son, at 11 years old, really knew what his dad was writing about. He certainly knew his dad was a reporter, but I don't think he really knew that his dad was like writing about Whitey and the FBI, because frankly most 11-year-olds don't really know about that. So anyway, me being, you know, I'm a take the initiative kind of washcloth at 11, I kind of want to ask, like, Dick Layer about this, but I haven't seen him in a long time, but I want to ask him. I did actually, now that I think about it, I should have asked him when I reached out to him, but I was focused on other things, to be fair. I forget what I reached. There's a lot of chaos that's happened in the past few years. I don't have time to relive it all. I want to go back to 2001. So anyway, I went to Dick Layer's son, who was in class with me as a 6th grader. I was 11. And I said, it was about May of 2001, maybe June. The book had just come out, like in softcover. The hardcover, I think, was just coming out. And I had this book. I now understand why I had the book. But I didn't know why I had the book. I think my dad just read it and gave it to me. I don't know why he gave me these things as an 11-year-old. Anyway, so I said to my friend, can I come to your house and have your dad sign my book? No, I don't think, though, like, my friend thought much of it. We'd like to watch wrestling. So I think he was just like, okay, like, that's nice. I'm glad you read my dad's book. I don't think he had any idea what the book was about. All right, so I'm like, all right, this is great. And he's like, okay, I need to ask my dad, but I think you can do that. Like, I think he'll sign your book. So he talks to his dad, and he comes into school, like, that week, and he's like, okay, we can go, like, get your book signed on, like, this day. Like, my dad will be home. You can come over, and we can get your book signed. So I, like, am all looking forward to it. I'd read the book, like, 40 times, and I get to Mr. Layer's house. I'll never forget this day as a very intrepid 11-year-old little towel. I get to his house, and, you know, I had read Black Mass a lot, so I'm like, Mr. Layer, thank you so much for welcoming me into your home. I still remember what the carpets were like. I remember this moment very vividly. And I'm like, would you sign my book? Oh, Mr. Layer looked at me like I had 6 heads. And I didn't think it was that odd, frankly. I was very, you know, I was reading Supreme Court decisions and all this other stuff. So I didn't think, like, reading Black Mass was any different than reading the Globe in the morning. You know, you get up, you go get the Globe and the Herald from the front steps. You make sure you sort out the sports section so that your dad can read it. And then you have the Herald set up. And then I would read through the front page. I would read through the Globe every morning and all the sections. Then I would read through the Herald. That only took, like, a minute. And then I would just kind of, like, move on with my day. So it wasn't really abnormal to me to be reading Black Mass or, like, conversing about this. But for Dick Layer, I imagine an 11-year-old in 6th grade coming up to him and being like, well, I love your book, and I would like you to sign it, and I'm just enthralled with everything you've written. I'm sure he was a little taken aback, which he was, but then he quickly recovered and signed my book, and he was very grateful. However, now that I look back on that experience, yeah, I don't think many 11-year-olds were doing that. I may have been a little ahead of the curve now that I think about it. I had a really interesting life. My whole life's kind of been like that. I would just, you know, find myself in interesting situations. Anyway, so yeah, that's why I really wanted to be a journalist, I think, because of Dick Layer. I just thought that that was what you were supposed to do. You, like, research the government or other people trying to hide shady things, and then you tell people about it. And you got to be erudite, and you got to show people rather than tell them, because they don't really understand documents, but they understand like larger contextual story. It's like if James Joyce didn't do so many drugs, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's kind of what journalism is like, you know? Anyway, so also, let me see. At its best, it's got to be an applied form of Hegel's methodology. That's how you have to do journalism. Journalism in its rawest form is just understanding how to express syntactically the emergence of historical dialectics vis-a-vis the juxtaposition of cultural thesis and cultural antithesis, and then structuring or understanding the emergence of the synthesis, which is the predominant emerging cultural thesis before the system resets. That's all journalism is. It's just structuring the emergence of history onto the world scene vis-a-vis discourse, written or spoken or otherwise. But you can't tell, you must show. That's the duty of the journalist, and it's also why it's a profession or vocation so susceptible to external and internal manipulation, because no discipline, more so than perhaps even economics, is as rife as with conflicts of interest as the discipline of journalism. It's a self-regulating, autopoietic, self-generating industry, quote unquote, which it should not be, that undermines the pursuit of its foundational ethos because of the vacuity of self-interested greed. So anyway, that's my critique of modern journalism, but also why I love the profession. So Dick Layer inspired me a lot to be a journalist. And also, I had a neighbor when I was like 5 in kindergarten. We lived in a different part of town. We lived on a hill. And I remember when I was like 5 or 6, I was in 5th grade. I was in kindergarten or 1st grade. And my dad was on like a Saturday morning. My neighbor had been away for like 6 months. And my dad was happy that he was home. And so we walked across the street. His name was Mr. Golden, Mr. Dan Golden. I don't know where he was a journalist. I never really asked. I imagined it was for somewhere very important. Anyway, so my dad walked over to Mr. Golden one day, I remember, and he said, "Mr. Golden, I was worried about you. Where have you been?" And Mr. Golden said back to my dad and to me, "Well, I was living embedded with the homeless population for 6 months, working on a story, like covering like the plight of the homeless population. And I'll never forget this. He said, I thought the only way that I could experience and understand what they were going through was to become homeless. So I went and was homeless for 6 months for a story." And my dad was like, "That was very noble." And Mr. Golden was like, "Yeah, it was really hard. It was the hardest thing I've ever done." And then we walked away. There might have been more exchange, but that's the only part I remember. That was actually a very seminal moment in my life, now that I think about it. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed the story time with Towel. That was a little bonus at the end of our stream there. Yes, taking you through years of... Apparently I was a smart child. I didn't think of myself as that smart. I was just baffled most of the time at other people. I didn't understand why most other kids wanted to like watch shows and play with toys. I understood it like conceptually. I was like, that's kind of fun, but like we're not really changing the world by doing this. I was very frustrated that my peers like were very content not changing the world. And I was like, don't you want to make the world better? I just felt very out of place like between the ages of like 6 and like, I don't know, probably like 29. And then eventually, like, I think my body and my physical body started like reflecting the level of intelligence I had, so people started taking me more seriously. It was very frustrating as a kid. I would just kind of tell the adults that they were wrong, and they would just ignore me, and I would be very upset that they weren't listening to me on Substance. And I was like, but don't you understand? It's on like page 58. You have to read it and understand. And they'd be like, Grant, you are not allowed to talk. And I'd be like, how dare you? It was great. One time I tried to tell my 2nd grade teacher how to structure the classes in the day to be more efficient. She did not like that very much. It was great. Anyway, all of that's to say I'm going to bed. I have a surgery tomorrow. I have a dental surgery. I've been worried about it all month. Thank you all for your prayers. If you want to support this public information service, which is designed to educate, inform, and entertain, I use entertainment as a buffer, 20% or so, in order to educate and inform you, which is 40% respectively, such as to engender, coach, and public discourse and ward off the usurpation of our representative forms of government or otherwise worldwide. You can donate through the Cash App, # Grant Smith Ellis, through the Venmo at Grant-E1, or through the PayPal, paypal.me/Grant Ellis. It's a one-man operation. Your donations keep me fed, keep me alive. I heard I got a coffee maker. It came in, I may have had to buy it because the other one never came in. I figured someone ordered it and canceled it, so I just got one thanks to your kindness out there. So I'm going to start saving money every day on my coffees. I get to have coffee like in the morning. I'm going to make my own coffee for the first time ever. Towel Girlfriend's very excited. It's so hard for me with my executive functioning issues to understand how to get out of a routine. But once I use my coffee maker once, I'm going to use it every day. It's going to be great. I'm so excited. It has the pods, and I got Donkey's pods. I'm excited. So anyway, you all keep me fed, and I'm very grateful for that. I'm looking forward to getting through tomorrow, hopefully, not fainting. And thank you very much for all of your positive vibes. You can also support this stream by subscribing to the channel, liking the video while the streams are live. And more so than anything else, if you benefited from this stream today, if you want to pay it forward, you can look for reasons to do small acts of service and kindness for those around you. Oh, God bless you, Francine. I do think God made all of us special, and I do feel very special these days. I'm very blessed by God. I'm very grateful. Oh, sorry about that. I hit my microphone. But yes, if you benefited from this stream, if you enjoyed the chat section, if you found camaraderie here, if you learned something, if you were informed about current events, you may pay it forward by looking for reasons to do small acts of service and kindness for people around you. You may consider a donation, for example, to our homeless veterans or our service members or their families. There should not be one service member in the United States or veteran homeless against their will. Can't speak for other countries. I'm an American towel, you know what I'm saying? We're not going to stop our veterans from going and living in the woods if they want to. They have survival skills. I've heard of this. It's rare, but we're not going to stop them. It's free will. But if there is a single veteran of the armed forces in this country homeless against their will, we failed. We've completely failed. We somehow misprioritized what is the most important, which is protecting and supporting those who gave us the freedoms, which allow us to do things like inform you and otherwise. This is a wonderful country, and we can help those who helped us. Consider a donation to our homeless veterans or our service members today. It's very important. However, what if you're saying to yourself, but Grant, I also love animals. You talk a lot about goats and sheep and horses and all the other wonderful animals. Well, I have good news for you. You could consider a donation to an animal shelter run by veterans or service members, or that helps our veterans or service members. Pete Bunnytail's not an animal, but he is kind of fluffy. It's a great way to help our furry friends, and it's a great way to help our service members, especially the programs that help our service members connect with our animals. It's a great form of therapy, or so I hear. Now, if you can't find a charity that helps animals and is run by veterans or helps our service members or veterans, you may consider a donation to an animal shelter in general. Everybody loves our furry friends. They unite the world. Everyone loves animals. I've never met anyone, except for probably I've read one or two things about people who don't like animals, but they're the worst of the worst in society. Everyone loves animals. You may not love all animals, that's fine. I met a snail one time. I was nice to it, but I didn't really want to hang out with the snail. My point is, you don't have to like all the animals. I'm sure there's some animal out there that every person on the earth can find a reason to like. What about capybaras? If you don't like capybaras, there might be something wrong with you. But my point is, you can look for a reason to support animals by donating to an animal shelter. If you're in the UK, please do consider a donation to The Big Issue. The Big Issue is a charity in the UK that helps populations experiencing homelessness, and it's a great way to give back. They can't yell out on the street anymore that they sell The Big Issue. It's a newspaper that the homeless populations in the UK both work on and then are able to sell to work towards independence. Do consider donating to The Big Issue today. It doesn't have to be a donation, though. You can pay it forward with something as simple as smiling at someone on the street, reaching out to a friend or family member you haven't heard from in a while, or yes, even giving away 200 tomato plants like Francis Frutrell did one time and having them designated honorary towels forevermore during the outro. Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. In that way, may we continue to hope and pray, and with our actions create a change in the current realpolitik from one centered on preserving, expanding, and demonstrating our power, to instead one centered on preserving, expanding, and demonstrating our capacity to engage in small acts of service and kindness rooted in unconditional love. Therein living up to our tau eudaimonia, or summum bonum, our greatest good in the ancient Greek or Latin respectively, and in turn bring about a new digital epoch defined by Aquarius the water bearer standing tall and carrying a Pete Bunny towel. Despite how nervous I am because of my procedure tomorrow and the fate of the world, I believe it's possible because of you all. I'm grateful to have spent this day with you. I'm grateful that no more bombs fell. May peace continue to reign as long as possible. May God protect the United States of America. May God bless all of you. Thank you again for welcoming me into your home. My name is Grant Smith Ellis, signing off for the evening for Towel News, just past 8:09 p.m. Eastern Time here in Boston, which would make it 2:09 a.m. tomorrow. So it's Tuesday still here, April 28, 2026. It's 2:09 a.m. Wednesday, April 29, 2026 in South Africa. It's 3:09 a.m. in Tel Aviv, Israel, and it's 3:39 in Tehran, Iran. Good night. God bless you. Thank you for welcoming me into your home. I'll see you again probably in 2 days, unless my surgery goes so well I can function tomorrow. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Grant Smith Ellis. My prayers and blessings to you all, and thank you again for watching Towel News.